TGIF. Hope you all have had a wonderful week. I know you are ready for the weekend to begin. So, welcome to the Just Ask Char advice channel. We will be getting started very soon. So get comfortable, get ready, and relax. We sincerely thank you all for your support. This channel is sponsored by you, the subscribers. When you want to hear another perspective for yourself or a friend, then just send an email for advice to JustAskChar@gmail.com. All right, we are ready to get this show started. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend. There will always be a perspective or some advice that someone can benefit from and use. Now, here's your host of the show, Char Willie.
Hey, hey, hey. Happy Friday. What's going on with you good people? Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a safe week. I know you're ready for this weekend to begin. It's the first of the month and rent and mortgage paid, everybody. And if not, do keep in mind that there is some assistance you can get. It is a slow process, but hey, do what you need to do so you can get some assistance. Don't be afraid because a lot of people are ashamed and afraid. It is nothing to be ashamed, afraid, or embarrassed about. We need some reparations. We really do. Don't think that it's a handout because it's just getting some of your taxes back. That's all. And if you look at it, if you want to have the attitude that it's a handout, then um, when you get your return back every year, give it away. Ha! Bet you that don't happen. But anyway, good people, I'm glad that you decided to spend some time here for another show. I appreciate you guys. Happy June. It is now considered summer. You kind of can't tell when it's out come to, when it comes to being outside. Maybe by the weather, but it's less people out. I mean, the city is opening up, most states, but it's not as busy as it used to be because people are still concerned. So much is going on in the news. People trying to stay safe, not from just this pandemic, but even with the liberating that's going on in the streets. But it's okay. These are my views. They're not the views of anyone else. And I think it's a sacrifice, and it's a small sacrifice if you do um, lose a few things. You have to go on your insurance or whatever. Things are changing, and this is what it's taken for things to change. I received so many different emails from different companies stating that we stand behind African Americans. I received an email from, let's see, Ulta, let's see, Ultra, who else? Chipotle, Target, and there were several other stores that are contacting people and saying, hey, we stand behind you. This would not have happened if people just held hands and saying, we shall overcome, kumbaya, and whatever else. It would not have happened. So I do appreciate that people are standing together, doing what needs to be done, which is affecting people's money and even a little pain, but more so their money. That's what gets people moving. Oh, and without further ado, I would like to bring to the show the very classic Ruby, everyone.
And
Greetings.
in greeting, I will say, "Say it loud! We're black and we're proud." That's right, black and we're proud. All right. Um, but yeah, no, I agree with you. No, because uh, I was so tired of listening to everyone go, "I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not taking this anymore. This is bullshit." But then no one's doing anything. And it's such a frustrating state to be in where every new news story is another heartbreak, is another time where you just sit glued to the TV going, or your screen going, seriously again, seriously again. So for everyone who stood up and said, no, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take this lying down. We're not going to, oh, just wait and see, like we're supposed to, right? Sit down in the corner and be good boys and girls, and we'll let you know when we let you know. Like, that wasn't going to fly this time. And I can say, to be honest with you, I mean, this was atrocious. I'm not saying it was not, but there's so many times in the past that I've seen a story and I would have thought that would galvanize people. That
Yeah,
would be something people would move on. Again, killing small children in bed while they're sleeping because they're in the wrong house. That, to me, that would have been something that I would move on. And it's just like, but we don't, and it's so easy for me to say that, but I didn't. What did I do? I just sat there disgusted and horrified and reported on it. But what does that do? So I'm happy that everybody started to organize, started to come together as a collective. And this is so important, came together as a collective to try to accomplish something because it's working.
yes,
So
I
good job,
agree with
peoples.
you.
Hmm.
Yes, continue on, good peoples.
Exactly.
Well, today we will be discussing saying no.
Mm.
Well, the letter starts off with the person trying to say no and not being respected with their no. So I know this conversation is going to go in several places, but we're going to start off with, addressing the letter, and then we can go into our personal situation because we all have them. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's so funny. It's just like so many other times when I get up here, I'm like Dr. Jekyll and Hyde on this one. Because I'm literally 50-50. So I'm positive I'll be 50-50. Depends. Am I being a hypocrite? Probably, but we'll see. Okay, let's go ahead.
No problem. No views are wrong. We
Exactly.
all have them. All right, let's see. Let's get it popping here. Share my screen. Do 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 do. Ah, da, 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 da.
Hmm.
And there we go. Audio. And hopefully it is heard. Uh-oh, it's blinking on my end. Uh-oh. Struggle Wi-Fi.
So far.
Okay, let's see what we
Okay,
can
got my
do
fingers
here.
crossed. We got this.
Young lady, and ready to get right into it.
Yes.
She writes, Dear Shar, I am having a problem at my job. The problem is one of my coworkers almost always do a no call, no show, which means someone else has to cover for her. That someone else is usually me. Her excuse for not coming to work is usually because I didn't feel like coming here. At first, it wasn't a problem because I was making extra money. It has now become a problem. My supervisor doesn't ask if I can stay past my scheduled time. He tells me to stay past my scheduled time. A lot of times, he's telling me to stay during the times I really can't stay. When I applied for the job, I gave my availability. However, my supervisor tries to get me to cover for another girl's shift when she is calling off. If I tell him I really can't stay or come in, he'll constantly call me and text me until I will answer. What should I do about this situation?
All righty. Hopefully that was clear to you for everyone. My earlier videos, my volume was lower. I'm new to this, and it started getting better as time go on. That's all I
Exactly.
could
You
say.
improve
Start
over
getting better.
time, right? Yeah. That's
Right. No shame in my game. Like, hey, it is what it is. I always can briefly tell you what it's about, and that's it. Go check
all
out
right.
the video because that's what I want you to do. Check it out. Because I'm not going to go over all the, responses that I've given the person.
Right.
Um, go check out the video. We're just having a conversation about it now.
And so, mods, on that note, if y'all could maybe post the link to the video so people could save that, go watch it later, just in case. People are lazy; they don't look for nothing. So, just in case, a mod wants to get on
Yeah.
that, that would be great. Thank you. Clearly, I'm not going to do it, but if someone else will kindly be a little less lazy than me and get that done, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm gonna invite people up, and we get started. Um, well, hopefully it was clear enough to notice or understand that the person is trying to work and was willing to work with her supervisor, but it just got to a point where he just did not want to accept no, and he just continued to call and call and call, and the person that calling off gets away, but all the pressure was on her, and she didn't want to say no, and it's just getting bad, and she didn't know what to do.
Hmm. Eh, This one is an interesting one, and the reason why I say it's interesting is because I thought the question was going to be her saying yes or no or whatever to the
Mm-hmm.
coworker. Do you know what I mean? But then it got
Yeah, have a
complicated,
conversation. Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's like, well, but now the boss is just expecting it of you. So it's not that the coworker is just hey, can you cover for me again? I'm not coming in. But well, yeah, okay, thank you. No, the boss is now saying, well, you got to stay late because your coworker is not coming in. So it's like, oh, that's a more difficult one. Now I understand why now at this point she's written in, because people, it's one thing to learn how to nut up and say no to a coworker. It's another thing to feel confident saying no to your boss, because there's a fear there that if you do, your boss is just going to hire someone who's willing to do it, right? Willing to go the whole 9 yards. So then, even though it's not your responsibility and it shouldn't be required of you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Dantizi, I am going to actually give you a story that I shared somewhere. I don't know where I shared it at, but it happened to me. Um, let me see, year before last? Yeah, year before last. And I was at work, and at this particular contract that I had, you're able to make up your time. So as long as you get 40 hours before Sunday, they're fine. Call in late, call in at all. Well,
Mm,
it couldn't be a no show, but call in, come in late, leave early, anything like that, they're able to make it up, up until Sunday.
mm,
So I had a particular show that I was hosting, and I knew the show was going to run a little bit over. So I was thinking, I said, well, maybe I'll just put a few hours in so I could sleep just a little bit later and go in on Saturday, you know.
mhm,
So it's the first time within the contract that I've asked. It's not even that I just did it, I asked.
mhm.
And I asked a month in advance, one entire month in advance.
Hmm,
So each week, I'm like, okay, I got 3 weeks. Okay. 2 weeks go past, I got 2 weeks. Third week came up. Supervisor, did you know, have an answer for me? Oh, yeah, I'm still waiting on management to get back to me. Let me send it again. So now I'm a
hmm,
little confused. I'm like, how long does it take? Because I was trying to figure out what days I wanted to make up the time because I wanted 4 hours.
mhm,
And I could have used two, but I wanted to do four. I'm like, why not? Make a half a day.
mhm,
And so finally got a response back, and my supervisor calls me over to his desk and he shows me the email. And the email stated, let me see, I wrote it down here. Personal time is not approved because of company needs. Now, we had 16 people, all of them except myself, so 15 of them come in late, leave early, don't come in at all these different things.
mhm,
I put a request in, never been late, never taken a day off, none of that. I put a request in to take 4 hours. That's all I wanted, 4 little measly hours. I
mhm,
put the request in 4 weeks in advance.
mhm,
I get the response back about, I think it was 3 days, I think it was on a Tuesday. And I was told no.
wow.
So, because I was told no, I didn't appreciate it.
Mm-mm.
And I was going to take the time anyway.
Yep.
Because what are you going to do to me? The consequences are the consequences. I truly believe in standing on your disrespect,
Mhm,
so I have no problem with that. So I was going to take the time anyway. So
Mhm.
what ended up happening, my supervisor at the time we were speaking, he told me, he said, look, all these people, they take time off, they do what they want to do. He said, some of them even work the days they're not supposed to be here. He said, so you go ahead and take the time that you need.
Mhm.
I said, I really appreciate that. I truly do. He said,
Right.
yeah. He said, I don't have no problem with you, go ahead. I said, okay, thank you. Now, the reason I know I was told no is because it was a Saturday.
Mhm.
And we started off with maybe a team of 10 on Saturdays. It dwindled down to 4 people.
Mm.
Some people were fired because they were stealing. I think we
Mhm.
lost 2 people because they were stealing. One person, I don't know what happened to that person. I think that their child was sick. It was a guy. I never forgot get him because he smelled good. And I love scents. I love fragrances. But anyway, so
Mhm.
we lost I know about those 3. And like I said, the crew went down to 4 people. Myself, 2 Latinos, Latinas, and one guy that no, it was a girl. It was a girl.
Mhm.
She showed up when she showed up. So I already knew that was the reason. I knew that's what it was.
Right.
I
But
saw.
so.
So that's what we doing here, huh? So I
Mhm.
went on and took the time. Like I said, I didn't need it. I was rested. I could have probably snoozed at my desk, anything, because at that time it was, a little bit slow um, during the season. But the point was the point. It was the principle, Smokey. And
Right.
I just didn't appreciate it. And I just took the time just because you told me no. But the thing is, dependability. When they see that you're dependable, they're
Mhm.
very quick to not want to work with you.
Yep.
Very quick. Tell you no on the end. Oh, we really need you. And that's what I know probably happened to this young lady.
Mhm. Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. See, look how responsibly you dealt with it. You think any of those other people are dealing with it that responsibly? Um, First of all, half of them are probably being shady and just outright lying. Oh, I need a sick day. You just wake up in the morning to the call. They're not coming because they're quote unquote sick. But I'm sure it's a 24-hour flu. I'll be back in to make up my hours tomorrow, right? They don't give you the opportunity. They ask for forgiveness instead of for permission, right? They know
Uh-huh.
that the employee that is asking for permission is the responsible one, the one that they can count on, and therefore the one that they can say no and is likely going to take that unfair no, right? Because they need someone to be dependable because God, the rest of the workforce is likely to just not show up. And then what the hell would we do? Well, at least we know we can count on Shar. Like, no, that's not your responsibility to take one for the team every day of your life. Like, no, that is unreasonable. Like,
Now you think about it. This was the rules. This is how they made the rules. They stated that you can make the time up if you call off,
mm-hmm,
if you come to work late, or you leave early. So this
right,
was the rule for everyone, all 26 of us, but it didn't apply to me.
right. And you
Isn't
made
that
sure you
something? They're
asked
like, oh,
first.
not you.
Right. You made sure you asked first, and you know you asked so far in advance that there's no way any of those other irresponsible show up when they feel like it people asked before you. Which means if they have to make sure that they say no to, say, 5 people, right, or whatever amount of people, you know you got your asking first. So it's not about that at all. They were pre-planning that other people weren't going to show up on that Saturday. And so they needed you to come. No, that's they can't do that to you. How is that showing loyalty and appreciation for a really good employee? That's ridiculous.
Right. Exactly. But that was my punishment. And I know the signs. Work many
Mm-hmm.
companies. I know the signs. And I used to, when I would take contracts with this company, I used to share the stories because a lot of people could not believe the story. Well, they said they liked it, and then they said they
Mm-hmm.
couldn't believe it. But I didn't make the stuff up. I would just, some of the stuff I had to write down the notes because it started becoming so crazy. I couldn't
Man.
keep up with the nonsense. So I would write little notes, and then I would say, well, this would happen at work today. I call it office tales.
I know, I remember. I was just gonna tell everyone, call it Char's Office Tales. It sounded like she was writing like a really racy, crazy novel or something. Like, I can't believe half this stuff really happened. Like, where did they find those people? Like,
I don't know. Y'all tested like I did, and they got in, and there you go. I don't know. And
man.
I don't do well with tests because it makes me angry. I'm like, y'all trying to trick me. Just ask me the darn question outright. Don't be throwing no a whole lot of variables in there and temperatures and all that. Get out of here. But
But
it was crazy that that happened. And again, I was treated unfairly. If you think about it, that was your rule. I didn't have an office meeting and say these are the rules of the office. You come in late, you leave early, you call off. This is what you're able to do. You have to do it by
hmm
Sunday, and that's it.
hmm
So
See, you know why? It's
these
because you're
things
in
happen.
contention with, I mean, other than the really crazy people, right? Man, it would, y'all, if she decided to sit down and read the Office Tales one day for like 4 or 5 hours, you would be riveted, glued to your chair listening. Stuff is crazy. But like, even more normal employees like me. So I once told my boss, I remember like when I first got this job at Bell Mobility, it's basically one of the biggest cellular communications companies in Canada. There's two. There's Rogers and Bell, right? And so one
Hmm.
was on CDMA technology, one was on GSM technology. That's before everything was exactly the same like it is now. So anyway, so I got my job. And honestly, I should have felt very lucky to be there. I was like 19, 20, 19. I didn't even graduate from high school. And I didn't really have any qualifications as far as working over the phones or anything like that. I had worked in cellular for a couple of years, so I had some experience with phone stuff, but like I didn't have any experience on this level in offices, anything. But I'm amazing at, communications. Y'all see, I like to talk. I'm good at it.
Uh-huh.
And I aced my interview. So I got it, and I remember I got into training, and like literally everyone in my training class had a master's. They were all like at least 10 years older than me. They all had a master's in something or at least a couple degrees, all had crazy work experiences. And there's little me. Yeah, I'm Ruby. I went to Lauren Park Secondary, last people to have OAC. Can't say I was class of anything because I didn't graduate. Is sit down. Like I didn't have anything to say. Like because it's like all of them listing off all of their things. So I should have felt really lucky to have my job. Then I showed up to training, like literally, I showed up probably drunk if I'm gonna be real, because I was out drinking until maybe 3, 4 o'clock in the morning every single day, go home, crash for a couple of hours, and then go to work for 7, right, for training. But I was like, well, you don't really have to think in training. So, I would just sit there and be half like dead for most of the day. And right around the time that I would wake up / sober up, middle of the afternoon around 3, it was time to go out and start drinking again. I was 19. I was living fast and furious. So anyway, by the time I finally
Hmm.
got through training, you would think, given all of these parameters, though, I would feel lucky to be there, right? So when they, for example, you finally get to bid, because this is a company where you have to bid for vacation and stuff like that, where I go to look for a couple days that I was going to have off, I already knew, and I couldn't have those because, the priority was already taken up. Um, you would think I would be like, oh, darn. Okay, well, that's fine then. Maybe ask my boss, is there any way when they say no, then, take it like that. Um, so I, But I looked into it on my own, and I realized that while you couldn't take vacation days if they're already blocked off, you could take an emergency day on any day. And you had, like, I can't remember how many emergency days, maybe like 3 or 4. You have emergency days where you don't need to have any pre-booked vacation. It's still a paid day. You're all free and clear. And this was like April. And I said, okay, I went to my boss and I said, okay, I need to book an emergency day for August 2nd and August 3rd. And she was like, okay. And so the rules clearly state, it's not like she's making them up. I saw it at the time that, like, an emergency day is, for example, you're going to have surgery on that day, right? The vacation day is not available, but you're going to have surgery on that day. You literally cannot be there, or, something like that. And so she asked me, well, why do you need the days off? I said, well, my birthday is August 2nd, and I don't work on my birthday. And honestly, I'll probably still be too drunk on August 3rd to come to work. That was it. Like, I dead ass. I knew I wasn't coming. She's like, okay. So she calls me into her office to, like, have a sit down, right? Like, okay, listen, that's not going to fly. Like, you can't book the emergency day. And if you don't come in, like, you'd get fired. And I was like, okay, I'm going to explain something to you. I'm going to be here, right, from today until August 2nd. What you do at this point is up to y'all, but I can guarantee you I will not come to work on my birthday. I'm not coming. Like, I'm not coming. 100%. If you want me to wait until August 2nd and call in the morning and say I am sick, call in on August 3rd to also say I am sick, and go on August 4th to get a sick note, I'll do that. But I don't really like to lie. It's not in my DNA. I'd rather just be upfront and honest. And upfront and honestly, I am going to be too drunk for at least those 2 days for me to come into work. And she just stared at me for about 5 minutes, right? And then, after everything she had said, right, which was, she said all this stuff about the fact they have to make sure that the call center is adequately staffed and so on and so forth. And I'm like, well, that's why I want to make sure that the days are booked off in advance. So that way you guys know I'm not coming, because I know I'm not coming. And she's just like, get back to your desk. Wait, so does that mean that you're approving the days? I don't approve anything, but yes, you get the emergency days. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, so, I mean, you have people like me, right, who do ignorant ass shit like that, and I'm okay with it. Like, if you were going to fire me at that point, I would have walked. It would have been okay, but I wasn't coming to work 4 months from now. I wasn't. I knew I wasn't coming, right? So there's employees like me, right? And then there are employees like you who, you actually, like, okay, so another thing. My company had a 3 strikes policy, right? If you were late 3 times in any 6-month period, rolling calendar, you're fired, right? So, but you could be sick as much as you needed to be, right? Like, if you're sick, you're sick. They didn't want you coming to work. And I would pull into work and look at the time, and it would be 8:59, and I start work at 9. Now, I know by the time I park my car, get upstairs in the elevators and log in, it's going to be 9:01. That's going to count as me being late, right? And if I've already had 2 strikes in the last 6 months, I will, as I'm pulling out of the underground, I'll call them and call in sick and go home, because I'm not going to get fired. That would be crazy. So you would think, right? Well, this would mean I did that once or twice. I would learn my lesson. I would leave half an hour earlier. Oh, no, I never changed what time I left work. I never changed anything I did. That was just my fail safe, right? I managed to keep my job for years. I was late, like, probably, I don't know, I'll say 5 days a month. So 5 days a month, I was sick. That was it. I actually came to work while I was sick. But if I was going to be late, I'll call in sick. So you have ignorant ass people like me who work with you. So, when you're like a responsible person, you make sure you show up on time, you leave home so that way you get to work. So you're actually there, when you say you're going to be there, you are there. You know, all that stuff. Like people like you, they can't afford to let you not be there, right? Because they know that you work with someone like me.
Well, thanks a lot.
I know, right? So it's like I kind of
Welcome
get
to the
it.
panel, DeAndre.
Hey,
I'm
DeAndre.
sorry. Want to
Hey, how you
address him.
doing?
Mhm.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Ruby, just heard your story of you being ain't shit.
Yep.
Char, how are you? That was good. You know what I'm
Greetings.
saying? We got we got
I
Ruby, we got Ruby saying that she was the cause of Char having to enable the
yeah, they should. It's yeah.
yeah,
Mhm,
the enable
mhm.
like this. I'm like for a lot of people, they for a lot of people they have a lot of times with a lot of people they have this thing about they want to say no, but really they like it on the other end of it. When it happens like the first couple of times, if you really don't like something, you're going to do something about it, right? You're going to make, even with avoidance, like you're going to avoid the situation whenever it's possible. So give you a perfect example. um let's just say the lady in question, she knows that when it's time for her to get off, the boss is going to come there. Now she's sitting there working diligently. She's trying to do something else, and she knows like she gets off at 5 o'clock. No one that gets off work at 5 o'clock that has something to do wait until 5 o'clock exactly to get ready to leave work, because you're not leaving work at 5 o'clock. You're getting ready at like 4:45. Actually, you're trying to
Yes.
bullshit at 4:30.
Thank you. That's what I was gonna say.
30 minutes prior. You're trying to roll the hell out of there, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, even look, I get off at 5, right? Guess who's gonna go to the bathroom and play on their phone at 4:30, right?
exactly.
Let me see. You?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. I'm gonna clean up everything. I'm gonna start moving around. If I'm in the office, I'm gonna take my little trash can and put it out for the janitor, right? If he's got to dump the trash, right? If I gotta, if I'm a smoker, I'm gonna go take that nice little smoke break, where everybody's sitting around coking and joking. Then I'm gonna go do something else. I'm gonna have everything pre-packed, my bag, my everything. Matter of fact, I'm gonna walk to the parking lot and put all of my stuff in the car so I don't make a mistake and leave something so I have to come back into the office. Then I'm gonna roll out. I'm gonna take that last little pee break, 5 minutes till, slowly, you know, stagger myself. I ain't even gonna take the elevator because it's too fast. I'm gonna waste time. If I'm on the second floor, I'm gonna take the back stairs. I'm gonna walk down the stairs slowly, hit every step, right? Hit every step, and then my alarm goes off on my watch. And guess what? I am putting the key in ignition, and I am out of there like Fred Flintstone. I'm sliding down the dinosaur. You can't come find me if I'm not to be found. You can't find me if I'm not found. Like if you can't see me, I literally did this. Like, because in the military you can't do this. Like, you got to wait until they say you're off work. So they can
Okay.
do that in the military because you're always on call, whether you work one day or whether you work like 12, 14, 24 hours straight. That's a whole different beast, right? But when you're talking about what we say in the civilian world or the real world, right, outside of the military, this is the first thing that I ask, because my supervisor will come, hey man, can you stay late? You paying overtime? I can't hear you. Oh, can you do me a favor? I said, no. I said, because the last favor some black people did, that was called slavery. 400 years of that, that's working for free. I don't work for free. You ain't my friend. You ain't my buddy. What are you going to do? Well, man,
Ooh wee.
your job performance report will be better. It's for the greater good. The greater good of who? You, right? Make you look good, right? I said, look, I've been here. I said, look, man, what time I gotta come to work? 8 o'clock. I said, okay, I gotta come to work at 8 o'clock. I gotta be here at 8, right? What time do you see me every morning? 7:30. They don't pay me for that. They pay me from 8. I take my mandatory 1 hour lunch break, right? And then we go from there. And then I get off at what time? 5. Okay, so I got to be here at 8. I take my hour off for lunch whenever I can take it, right? Because sometimes I can't take lunch at the time because I'm busy doing something else that needs to be done, right? So yeah, I said, okay. So then 5 o'clock, I'm off, right? Yeah, okay. I'm off at 5 o'clock, right? So between 8 and 5, that couldn't get done. Because I do notice that you done took, because I don't smoke, you done took 25 smoke breaks. You went through a whole pack of cigarettes. And I can tell because when I walk in the morning, you're hitting the back of the pack and you're taking the wrapper off. And when it's over, the last cigarette that you just smoked coming in here, you done balled up the pack of cigarettes and threw it in the trash. So that's 25 smoke breaks that you done took. Minimum if you smoke one cigarette. Then I done seen you sit out there and have a conversation with someone and smoke 3 cigarettes in that time frame. So you're a 2 minimum smoker of cigarettes. That is a 10-minute time lapse. So whatever that could have been done at that time when you could have informed me to do it, if you wasn't out there running your trap, you could have came in here and told me within the allotted time. So why should I help you? Because if you don't compensate my time, then I can't get that time back. So you got to give me something. I got to get paid, bro. So am I getting paid? No. So it's for what? Well, man, you know, if you help me, then I can help you. Okay. Yeah, help me by authorizing that overtime. Well, you got to put in for
that's right.
Well, you got to put in for overtime. Well, you got to put in to be a jackass to tell me something at the last minute so I can be here, right? I just look at him, man. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Come on. See, black people are the worst with it, right? And you know what I'm saying? Black people are the worst with it. They'll look around, man. You know, it's just us. Yeah, it's just us, right? Yep, it's just us. So since it's just us, nigga, I don't work for free. How about that? How about that? Since it's just us, since we want to go there, I don't work for free. How about that? How about that? Listen, prostitutes get paid. You get 30 minutes. If you don't get that nothing at 30 minutes, you got to pay extra. If you continue to keep going, there will be a guy to give you some consequences. He's called the pimp. You ain't pimp. You ain't my pimp. You ain't massa. I'm going to need that money.
Yeah.
You paying? All right, man. Look, man. You know what I'm saying? Look, man. All right, if you do this for me this one time, if I do it for you this one time, you're going to come with another bullshit ass excuse. The next time, and the next time, and the next time. Man, if you paying overtime, I'm all with it. We ain't got nothing to talk about because I said, listen, actually, you're sitting here trying to convince me to stay past time, right? Say, yeah. What time is it right now? It's 4 o'clock. I said, I get off in an hour, right? He said, yeah. You could have just told me what it was right now, and it probably would have got done before I got off.
Wow.
See, if you think about it, right? They don't tell you when you're walking out the door because you're off. They tell you an hour or 20 minutes beforehand before you're about to get off because they're watching your pattern.
Right.
So they know that you're reliable because as a reliable person, Char, like yourself, you're going to give them an advance notice, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to inconvenience them. And here's the thing about the world. They don't care about your inconveniences, so why should you care about theirs? Like when they fire you, like when you leave a job, they say give a 2 weeks notice, right? But when they fire you, they don't give you a 2 weeks notice. They call you in the office, they have security, walk you to your desk, and throw you out on your air. You don't get a 2 weeks notice, right? Unless they're doing like a massive layoff, you know, because
union.
Yeah. Because the company's downsizing, so they have to do it. But why should I give you a 2 weeks notice? Every job that I've ever left, I've ever left. This is how I finagle it, right? I don't give them a 2 weeks
Mm.
notice. This is how I do it. I go find another job. I put in for another job. Look around, look around, look around. I get a job. I make sure it's on my off day that I can do the interview, schedule the interview, do everything, whatever. So then what I do
Right.
is I take 2 weeks off because that's 2 weeks of it. That's 2 weeks of training that I need to go to. Then when they
Yeah.
tell me my starting day, I walk in, always make sure it's on the last payday. So when I'm entering in the other payday schedule, that I don't miss no checks. None at all. I'm doubling up actually. And you know what I do? I walk in the office. Um, Jim, can I holler at you for a second? Come here, you talk. Yes. Yeah, we've been having a problem here. You've been always asking me, could I stay late? And I've been telling you no, unless you're going to pay overtime. And you don't want to pay overtime, but you want me to work. And I think this is a problem. So with this being a problem and this is not going to change, and you're telling me it's going to affect my job performance, I'm out of here. I am
Yeah.
going to quit effective immediately. Well, hold on, wait a minute. You're the best person we got. Yes, yes, yes. But even thoroughbred horses are treated better than me.
Mm.
You don't run your thoroughbred horse into the ground. You don't have them in unnecessary races. They're only in the premium stuff. You only bring them in when you really need the job done, and you let them do their work performance. I actually try to get everybody up to their modicum of excellence. So I'm going to leave. Well, what are you going to do? Well, you got to give a 2 weeks notice. Actually, I ain't got to give shit. I ain't got to give nothing. I don't have to give anything. And a lot of times with people is they really deep down inside, the company telling them it's the trick bag, right? When you have employees, it's a management tactic. Man, we can only depend
Mm.
on you. No, you can't leak. No, we'll make it up to you. Right. And you know what it is? They give you some stinking award. They give you an award because I've done that in the military. I had to learn this in the military too. I was the guy, right? Anything break, I would be dead in my sleep and they would wake me up to go fix something. Like
Mm.
Mm.
I literally had to do a lot of stuff, and this was my first ship. And I thought, man, I had this, right? I had this thing, right? I was walking around, like got my chest poked out, like the whole world. I'm Atlas around here. Until I met this wonderful young man. He was older than me. His name was Tippins. He was from Georgia, right?
Mhm.
And they didn't like Tippins. They couldn't stand Tippins, right? But the thing about Tippins was ridiculously smart, a genius. And you know what he was a genius as? His
What?
genius was looking like he was working hard, but he wasn't.
Mm.
Never was working hard. And he called me over. He said, man, you're going to work yourself to nothing. He said, you're going to see. They're going to run you into the ground and they're going to give it to that good old boy over there. And he going to get all your credit. And you're going to be in here mad and dejected. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And I didn't understand what Tippins was saying, but I understood when it happened to me. Like with
Mhm.
Shar, you wanted your personal time. The good thing you actually had a good supervisor that was watching what was going on, because not only that,
Yeah.
Shar, he saw it in your face that you was gonna go. Because
Mhm.
whether he liked it or not, you weren't coming in. So you might as well just go ahead and give it to you so you'll come back. Right. You know,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Because if this lady is this talented and doing what she need to do, this is the straw to break the camel back. I can't lose this one. So you know what? Don't, hey, I ain't got no problems with you. Go ahead and go ahead and take that time, because they ain't shit in here. And he knows just that little reprieve will let you recharge and come back. And you was probably hitting on all cylinders after that. You was fixing stuff that wasn't fixed for years, making his life a whole lot
Yeah.
easier. Right? Just
Yeah.
that little
Actually,
thing.
I actually worked with him. He used to buy me lunch and stuff because I used to look out for him. I was able to let him know what was going on, so he wouldn't be shocked, I guess you
Blind,
would say, because
blindsided.
he
Like,
was confused. Yeah, he wouldn't be blindsided. Thank you. And
Mhm.
so we were a good team. He it was kind of funny. He used to come come over to me because my coworker would disappear. And I said, well, she quit. They're like, well, when was she gonna tell me? I said, yeah, she quit. So he would come to
When
me.
was she gonna tell me?
Yeah, that sound like me, right? Ghost.
Yeah, he used to, look to me for different things, and I used to give him ideas and different stuff. But yeah, I just like things to run smoothly. So, we did work together well, and he ended up leaving the company right after that contract. So, guess he said enough of that. And he even gave me a couple of places that he worked at that were a couple of good places he told me to check out. But to get back to the young lady, it was a
Yeah.
young lady. And I do find that a lot of younger people, they don't want to say no or don't know how to say no. That much I do know. And just like my goddaughter, they used to run her all the time. She didn't find out they want her to stay late until 4:59, and she didn't want to say no. So after about a year of that, and they just ran her through the ringer, she got tired and she got enough strength to start saying no.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah. You see, the thing is, right? Because I was listening. I'm like, my thing is, I'm a little bit the opposite of DeAndre at this point. Whereas, listen, I'm late for everything. I'm late for everything. I can't think of something. And the thing is, I don't try to be late. And I actually, it would be surprising for most people to understand this, but I actually hate being late. And I work really hard to not be late. And it doesn't matter what I do, I always am late. It's just like it's this curse that's on my soul or something. I don't know. Um, so with that being said, and I had this discussion with my manager at one point, and I said, like, listen, y'all know that, whatever time my shift ends, unlike a lot of people, right? I will sit there, I'll take calls right till 6 o'clock. And if a call's gonna go over, and then that's a problem that's gonna be like not like a 5 minute call, but it's gonna be like a 45-minute call, I will sit there and I will solve that 45-minute call, right?
Yeah.
And I don't expect anything for it. Because once I'm at work, right? Once I'm
Yeah.
here, I'm here. I don't really care. My issue is always getting there. But once I got there, I'm already here. I'll work, whatever. It is what it is. So, but see, I think that's the thing. It's like a lot of people like myself, right? Like I don't really like to say no to people. And I don't really like to be an inconvenience or whatever it is. This is why I don't like to be late. I hate walking into places late. Like it's not even about what I'm missing. It's about me. Like, I walk in and I'm disrupting things. It's just like, oh, I hate that. I hate being an inconvenience. I hate not being able to help people. I hate saying no to people. But that's also why I don't respond well when anyone says no to me. I don't feel
Mm-hmm.
like I ask for too much. I don't feel like I ask for things too often. So I don't expect to ever hear the word no. I don't. I'm being honest with you, and I don't respond well to it when I do. Right? I don't respond reasonably or in adult fashion. Well, okay, I guess he's the boss. I don't have that response at all. Right? Like I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And I guess if you're gonna fire me, then you're gonna fire me. Oh, if there's a loophole, I'm gonna find a way with this loophole or whatever it is. Right? Like I'm that person, and I play that game. But that's why. It's because you could ask me to do just about anything, work through my lunch, do whatever. And I'm the person, I'll just keep saying yes, right? Like I'll be, sick as a dog and then someone will need a favor from me. And I always say yes. Like we've talked about this behind the scenes, or Ruby has an issue. I don't like to say no. I don't like to disappoint people. I don't like to bother, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I get being that person who's gonna get run into the ground and doing whatever on account of not saying no. And it's not so much fear for me because like again, it depends on what it is. I'll take my L. That's fine. Oh, you're gonna fire me because I'm not showing up 4 months from now because it's my birthday and I'll be too drunk. I'm all right with that. That's cool. Um, oh, I'm going to fail this class because the exam's on my birthday and I refuse to come to school on the second and you refuse to give me the exam even a day earlier. All right, that's cool. I'll fail it. I'm fine with that. I've done that too. Um, So, and actually, but the funny thing is, the person I was gonna start like, the pre-party with went to the exam. So I went to school and sat next to him during the exam and didn't write the exam because I don't work on my birthday. I have I really did do that. Yeah, I don't work on my birthday. I'm sorry.
Like, no, like it's certain things that you have to how should I say it? You have to put yourself in a certain position of authority, and there has to be a line drawn in the sand. And I think a lot of times the young people, they have this pressure about being responsible, right? Is the first thing that you have your first actual job, your first job in your actual like career path in life, whether you do it or not, right? Whether you do it or not, whether that's the thing that you're going to do for a long period of time, but your first real job, not something that's like part-time or anything like that, but you're putting in a 12-hour, like 8 to 12-hour shift. When the first time they ask you to stay later, it's like an honor, right? My job performance is so good that you want more of it. My job performance, you ask me out of everyone else because you see the difference. You see the dirtbag people that they're going to get fired. Like they're coming back late. They doing this, they doing that, they doing this, they doing that. They're going to come back late, right? They're going to come back late. And you're going to do their job. They're going to push forward and keep doing what they're doing. But then you start looking around like, wait a minute. If you're asking me to stay late and this guy still has a job and I know he ain't keeping everything up, he's not keeping everything up. Nobody knows that he's keeping everything up, like, or she's like late, or she's doing this, or she's taking like extra breaks and not coming into work and smelling like she just left the bar like 3 a.m. and everybody's giggling and you over there patiently waiting. It feels like The Office, the guy with the stapler, and they just kept moving him around. If you ever watched that movie, The Office.
Office Space.
Office Space. He had enough he had enough of it because he didn't get paid. Like, it was a running theme in there where they moved him. He didn't get paid. They moved him in the basement, but he was still doing work. No one knew the guy, but when they took his stapler, he lost it. Because
that's crazy.
He lost it.
Welcome to the panel, Zero. How are you?
I'm good.
Hey, Zero.
Hey, Ruby, DeAndre. Thank you for having me on.
No worries. Would you like to join in the conversation?
Oh, yeah, I got a lot to say about that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go right on ahead.
Yeah, I never know what like being a reliable person, like, covering for people who like choose not to do certain stuff. And then like when you don't want to cover for certain people, they want to get mad at you. I'm like, well, if you step your shit up. Sorry for that. I ain't mean to cuss, but yeah, stepped it up, then yeah, you would have you wouldn't be mad. You'll be all right. I shouldn't have to cover you. I'm not doing your job, my job. If you want me to do your job, I need to have your paycheck. If you're not gonna give me half your paycheck, well, you better learn how to do your job better then. Cause I'm not here to cover you, I'm here to help.
So this is the conversation you have with the employee, not the supervisor?
Oh yeah, supervisor. Oh yeah, let me get to the supervisor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. With the other supervisor, yeah, I always ask you to do that stuff, even when like you could have asked somebody else, but you knew that because I was gonna, you knew I was gonna get the job done. You always keep asking me stuff, and I'm constantly having, you constantly have to have me change my schedule around because I'm gonna be here when the people that's supposed to be here, are doing whatever they want to. And, they don't get inconvenienced, but, the reliable people, they get inconvenienced. And it's just crazy. Yeah, like like the other said, like till you draw the line in the sand, they'll keep asking you to do crazy stuff, do more and more work, and not and without the overtime.
And that's crazy. I just find it more so the younger the person is, it's harder for them to say no. And that, of course, that's not all, but
Yeah.
that's what I mostly see. And the young lady that written to me, um, I know she's under 30.
Mhm.
So that's why I said a young person, sometimes they have a hard time saying no. And I get it when you try to help as well. Um, I'm the person, I have no problem trying to help and solve the problem. I like that. But sometimes I have ideas that will make things a little easier. And if it's not breaking the law, let's try something different, you know?
Mhm. Well,
That
Yeah.
productivity.
Yeah.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
would think
Yeah.
too, a lot of bosses, I think sometimes, see, okay, not every boss is trying to take advantage of everyone, right? But it's kind of like if you don't set your own boundaries sometimes and remind them that this is not in your job description or this is not reasonable or whatever, they just get into this it's a bad habit, right? Like, oh yeah, oh Shar will do. Hey Shari, do you mind staying late to do this? No, okay, awesome, right? But like they're not thinking about it in terms of like, oh well, that bitch will work an extra half hour for free, or she doesn't mind missing her kid's birthday for this. Like, they're not thinking about it that way, right? It's just like they get into that habit. You have to establish that boundary as an employee and remind them. Like, even if you're willing to do the one off favor from time to time, you have to be very explicit with it. Well, you know what? I wouldn't normally do this, right? And really don't get used to it. But because I can see the urgency and how this was something that you couldn't have prepared for because so and so went into surgery late last night, you couldn't get here today or whatever. You tried to cover yourself, it's not working. Okay, I will do it this one time. You know what I mean? And be very explicit with it. Then it's like they can just kind of forget, right? Because it's like, yeah, they also start buying their own bullshit too, right? Oh yeah, we're all a team, right? No, 97% of the people here do not feel like they're on a team. 97% of the people are
Right.
here for a paycheck. They do not care about you or your company's success, or none of the above. Okay. The second you fire them or they quit, they will never think of this company again. That's the way it works,
Matter
right?
of
But they
fact,
buy into
That's
that in
fact.
their heads.
yeah,
Yeah.
matter of fact, you don't even want them to come back because they might be disgruntled if you fire them, right?
Mhm.
Like it's like what I would do when I was a supervisor, I was in charge, and this was even in the military. If I knew that it was some bullshit, right? Because they would do that. They would say this thing, right? We had this thing in the military, and it was like, all right, y'all, if y'all work through lunch, y'all gonna get off early.
Mm.
Then if you work through lunch, then when you think you're getting off early, because you usually get off at like 4:45, right? So you're waiting. So they come down at like 3:30. All right, man, just sweep and clean up, and then y'all gonna get out of here. So we sweep, we clean up, we waiting. Then they get out of a meeting. All right, it's time. All right, y'all can go. So when I became like a supervisor over, what they call it, a division, right?
Mhm.
They would pull that bullshit. They would
Mhm.
tell me to tell them the same thing, and I already knew where this was going.
Mhm.
So what I did to the guys, I said, listen, man, they're gonna come with this BS that if y'all work through lunch, that y'all gonna get off early, and y'all ain't gonna get off early. I'm just
Mhm.
gonna let you know. You're not gonna get off early. You're gonna get off at the same time because they want you to look like you're busy. So
Mhm.
this is what I want you guys to do. Look like you're busy. Take
Mhm.
this sponge and this bucket, space yourselves out evenly, at least like an arm's distance apart, and slowly clean this wall. Talk amongst yourselves. Switch off, take smoke breaks. Don't be gone too long. Don't be seen by the wrong people. Make it look like you're busy.
Mm.
and then I'm gonna get you guys out of here at a decent time. And a decent time means a little bit before that. The other thing I would do, if it was something actually pertinent, what I would do is say, I need some volunteers. Because you're in the military, you could do that. I need some volunteers. I'm going to stay late, but I need 2 people to stay late with me so the whole can get off. So is anybody going to volunteer? If you don't volunteer, I will volunteer you to stay late. I could do this in the military because I outrank folk. So people were like, all right, man, I'll do it. I'll do it. No problem. Now, what I would do, I would come up to them and say, since you stayed late with me the other time, go ahead. You got a dental appointment or something. Disappear. Like, go ahead and disappear, gone. Like, you got to give equal exchange. And when I got into like the regular world, I would do the same thing. If I as a supervisor, people's time is precious. And a lot of people, if you're getting paid by the hour and you're not getting compensated, even if you're the salary worker is the one that get hit with this the most. Because they don't get paid by the hour. They gotta work so many hours, and then you gotta put in comp. And a lot of times they don't get paid overtime, but they just get days off. Like you get them extra hours off, like time, like an hour and plus 5, you know what I'm saying, an hour and a half. You get extra overtime, but you don't get it in your paycheck, but you get that vacation day. But if they'll never let you take vacation, and then it's use or lose, then what's the point? They're getting free labor out of you. Whatever, one way. So what I would do as a supervisor is I would stay late, get everybody out of there. Or if I ask the person to stay late, what I would do is I would compensate them by giving their time back. I say, listen, man, we can't pay you overtime, but the time that you're giving me today, do you need to be off early for anything in the near future? Or matter of fact, if you take this time early off now, you can come in half a day. Or matter of fact, take the whole day, just come in, hit your time card and just disappear. Right? Just leave work, and then I just give you a free day of work. Just come in, sign in on the next day or whatever. People are willing to do that because you're giving them something. You can't just come in there with your hand out and not exchange anything.
Yeah, that's true. And that was like my last job. I remember I was like working working all through the weekends, and like I kept doing this for like months, and I would see new people that would come in and they would get like a weekend day off or something like that. And I got to the point like where I was like, okay, well, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go in there and ask because I was like, because I was gonna take like Thursday and Friday because like one of them was like the day I would go to stepping class. So like when they took that away, I was like, okay. I said, well, they're taking that away, and they probably give me some weekday or something like that. I was like, no. I thought about it. I was like, oh yeah, I can get Friday and Saturday off. Then they'll take that day away. So I went to the boss, had a conversation. I told him like, hey, I know I'm your best guy here and all that, and I know you want me here to get stuff done, but I said, but I want to get the weekend. I mean, get Friday and Saturday off, cause I mean I've been putting in work and all that. I've been been coming here all the time, ain't complaining about it. So so can you give me this, yes or no? And he say and he gave it to him because he was fair. Like, yeah, you have been doing a thing. I'm glad that like he was like fair, unlike other bosses that would just tell you whatever and dismiss you. So I was cool with that. But but yeah, not every boss is that cool.
So true. I'd like to welcome to the show Shadra. Greetings. How are you?
Greetings. Good evening, everyone. I'm fine. How is everyone doing?
Hey, Sean. Hey, Sean.
Hey,
I'm
hey,
good.
Zero.
Hey, Shadra.
Hey, Ruby.
Cool, cool.
You're
Yep. Yep. So,
Would you
I
like to
had,
weigh in?
Mhm.
yeah. I actually have two experiences I'd like to share, both of them up here in North Dakota. In North Dakota, there was a severe disparity between, well, just not necessarily disparity, but you understand that there are very few black people up here. So you know that if you get a job, any racial predilections the person may have may come into play with that job, right? So while working at Walmart, I was one of the people they asked, "Hey, you want to stay for overtime?" "Yeah, I'm here. I'm doing it." And I was just an overnight stalker, but I got to be so proficient that I could, they would say, they'd give me 8 pallets to work. I'd work 8 pallets, and then they'd send me to go help somebody else, right? Meanwhile, there were other people walking around with, boxes on their head for an hour, right? With one box, not actually accomplishing anything. And, they would ask me all the time, "Hey, can I get you to do this? Hey, can I get you to do this?" And after a certain point, I realized that with all the work I was doing, it got to the point where a coworker of mine, and I tried it, where I ended up working 3 of the aisles for grocery that night. He worked the other 3, and then the other ones were mixed among the other employees. And then I looked at the supervisor wall, and I realized I wasn't going to be anywhere because I looked at the supervisor wall, and there wasn't a single black face.
Wow.
"Hey, Victor, we need you to go over here." "Okay, when are you going to get done? We need you over here." "Hey, we need you over here. We need you over here." "Yeah, no."
We need you.
And I had another job in which I worked at a saltwater disposal up here, and I was the go-to guy basically because one of the guys got moved to another location. So I lived about 70 miles from the location I worked at, and how they did things at that saltwater disposal, they told you, "Okay, well, you're going to work your 12-hour shift. You're going to stay that 12 hours. And then after your 12-hour shift, we're going to require you to stay on location because we don't have anybody watching the facility during that time." In the event of a light, yeah, we'll pay you $1 an hour to stay on location.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Wait a
there
minute,
you
hold
are.
on, wait a minute, hold on, man. Hold on. You work 12 hours, then you got to stay there for 12 hours.
Then you work your next 12, yeah.
Then you work your next 12, but we're going to pay you $1 per hour just to stay there.
So they'll pay you $12?
Yes, $12 for 12 hours on location. Bathing in well water that smelled like sulfur,
$12?
having truck drivers coming in the middle of the night,
right. That part.
What? Whoa. What?
Well, right.
Exactly.
Sorry, it's a little bit loud.
Exactly.
Sorry.
No,
Exactly.
that was what? Who
Right.
made this? Who
But
made
you know what? There was always that constant threat. "Well, if you don't do this, we can always find someone else who's going to do this for you." And they sat there threatening my job constantly. And I actually go through look at the equal opportunity work poster. The work poster says, if you are required to stay on location or so close thereto that you cannot use the time effectively for your own purposes, you're considered to be working and must be compensated, right? But I continued to work for that company for about a year. Well, because it was 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, but my 2 weeks on often ended up turning into 6 weeks on because it was hard for them to keep people, right? And then,
right?
Yeah. But there was a period in time in which I had a girl laid up in my apartment waiting for me, right? And I wasn't home because I was at work.
Wow.
Wow.
And then this is the beautiful thing, right? After I got let off by that company, right? We went ahead and did a collective action lawsuit, right? And you know what the judge said in his judgment?
What?
The judge said, "Oh, well, you could have left any time."
Wow.
You chose, even though they were breaking the law straight out, right? But because you chose to stay there, you volunteered to be there. At which point I understood, oh, so even the law doesn't protect the worker. Got it. So when they
Right.
ask me to stay extra and they're not going to pay me overtime, and because every single one of those 12 hours that I was paid $1 for, I should have been getting my regular wage plus overtime for. It'd have come up something like $80,000 that they would have had to pay me.
Right. Yeah.
But I got jack squat for it because I didn't say no.
$12.
Yeah, no is a powerful word. We should not be afraid of it.
And like,
Use
to
that
clarify, I just want to
And this
clarify one
Walmart,
thing. Like, you weren't like a time traveler, and so you're talking about like 1935, where $1 means something, right? I'm just checking because I don't understand how they thought $1 for an hour.
It's North Dakota. It's still the Wild West. They still got engines out there. They got engines out there.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Work by candlelight. Like, what the hell? $1.
But there was also the constant insinuation that, well, we could get you out of here. I could find somebody else to get your job. And it was also a very interesting, I guess, pay structure, because I knew another dude who was black, and he was like, "How much you making?" I'm like, I see. Well, that white dude, he was hired at a higher rate than us, right? Like, really? Oh. It's just little things, the preferential treatment. You're like, you're for your job, so you don't want to say no. But
I think you're borging a bit.
He's going to block you and to protect you.
Okay, I thought it was just me.
Yeah. I think they was messing up.
Am I back?
Yeah. I think
you're
it was
back
messing up the
internet. Yeah, right. They're trying to silence you.
Right.
Yeah, we missed like
shut up.
That's not talking out against us. How dare you?
Yeah, right. I mean,
Yeah,
this is Walmart, right?
No, this wasn't Walmart. This was another company. This was a saltwater disposal company.
Oh, okay.
You better sleep with one eye open tonight.
While I was there,
Gee.
Yeah, you actually go through the entire legal process to see if you can get your money back. You actually don't get any money back because the judge rules that you volunteered to continue working there.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you don't really see.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I wonder if in retrospect now, like how long ago was that? Because they've been cracking down on a lot of this stuff. I mean, maybe less so with the current administration, but with that being said, whether he likes it or not, a lot of stuff has actually been changed and kind of implemented and stuff, right? Like there's certain things that even if you volunteered, quote unquote, for it, if it's unlawful, you can't. Right? Or if you can prove any form of, like if there was any email or any type of correspondence or any type of record, anything at all that proves that at any point they ever said, like, well, we could always get someone else to do it if you refuse or anything like that. Like, you could retroactively still get the money. Because people are doing that. They're going back against their companies and saying, it happened 10 years ago or 15 years ago or whatever, but this was still unlawful and they still owe us the money.
Statute of limitations in the U.S. for Fair Labor and Wages Act is FLA, FL something, right? FLSA. Mm-hmm. It's a 3-year deal. Basically, if you don't file a lawsuit within 3 years, I mean, they probably are able to do it if they have a large enough number of people working for it. But me being, small guy in North Dakota, that collective action, I had 6 other employees with me that said the exact same thing that I did, right? Mm-hmm. It didn't matter. They got a judge from West Virginia to throw the case out.
Wow.
Yeah, companies do that a lot. Like you would, like if he was at a company where that was a branch, but the main branch was in another state, he could actually file it against the company in that state where the main branch is, and then would most likely the company would just file would just do a settlement because they don't want the publicity. Mm-hmm. But when you talk about a small, like you talk about a company that's basically based in that state, they lobbying politicians and all types of stuff. It's just a rampant company practice. So, and then a lot of these companies, what you don't know, especially in the Midwest, stuff like that, or in the West, they actually, if you do some research of the parent company, it's actually a Native American company, so they can't even do jack. Yeah, it's actually
Interesting.
yeah. It's I used to work for a company called Alutech. Um, when I was a crane inspector over here, and I did it for the nuclear side. So technically, at the time I was supposed to get like $45 an hour, but they were giving me $30 an hour, and I'm supposed to get overtime plus two because it's nuclear stuff that I got to certify for, like lifting and stuff like that, right? So I'm certified in portal cranes and crap, right? So um when I found out we're supposed to get what they call COLA, cost of living allowance, because everybody else gets it's a big government contract. They weren't giving it to us. So we all found out about it. So we all put in a complaint. They went about systematically firing everybody, even white folk, just cutting their contracts and getting rid of them and bringing in some other people. The problem is that all of us that filed the complaints were the ones that filed the complaints. We were the ones that had the premium positions. So when we had this premium position, they basically called us in the office, said we're going to give you your jobs back, but y'all got to we're going to give you a bump in pay. We're going to give you a severance because I was only working there for like 9 months. There were people working there for like 4 years. So the government paid it. They didn't pay it. But the company, we couldn't actually sue the company because the government rep told us the company's a Native American company. You can't sue them. There's nothing you could do. They have a government contract. And it's overseas, and the company's actually based out of Hawaii. And it's since it's Native Americans, they put the Native Americans and the Samoans in the same boat. So since it's based out of Hawaii and it's not on the mainland, they're protected. So even if a class action lawsuit comes against them, it ain't nothing you could do about it. So it's like
Everybody's protected. Ain't that something?
yeah, it's like
Except for us.
Everybody else is protected.
yeah, because the company basically what the government rep said, he said basically you're working on a Native American reservation. They got their own rules. He said basically that's how it works. He said that's why, like, he said think about how many violations in this company. Imagine the casinos. He said imagine the casinos in Las Vegas. Like we can't do anything. Like they violate all the time. Like he said, you go in a casino and you do something, they can actually kill you, and ain't nothing the government can do about it. He said, why you don't think people rob casinos? And I said, okay, so if it's a Native American company, right? He said, no. It's a Native American company, but they're just figureheads. They're getting paid off. It's like one little group of Native Americans, they're getting paid off, and then the rest of the Native Americans are trashed. Like they just like yeah. He said I'm just look at he said look, basically it's a bunch of white people using Native Americans as puppets to get around the system. He said that's all I can tell you. He said that's it. I can't say anymore. I can't say anything else. It's just yeah. He said that's basically what it is. He said, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of companies like that. If you like, especially if you're talking about like in the oil fields and stuff like that, if you actually chase the company's roots and actually go all the way up with it, you'll see that the company's a branch. If any Native American has anything to do with it business-wise, with their act, with the Reservation Act that they got with the Native Americans, you can't do anything. Nothing. And the other part about it is a lot of these white judges, especially in these rural places like West Virginia, Kentucky and stuff, they got some Native American blood in them. So they're going to uphold it regardless of what it is to keep their tax breaks and things going. It's a trick bag. It's a trick bag.
And the worst thing is that you as an employee, you're trying to save your drive. You're trying to keep the money coming in, so you don't want to say no. But you get pressured into these situations where they're highly illegal. So I learned my lesson. I'm not giving the company any time over unless they say overtime approved. No, you're not getting any extra time out of me. As a matter of fact, I'm liable to bill extra just in case you feel like you will cheat me.
Let me share this story. This is a contract that I had. Um, this was 2017, I believe. Yeah, I think this contract was in 2017. Okay, so I had a 30-minute lunch break and I was working downtown. So I was near Navy Pier, so I can actually look out and look at the water. So I enjoyed doing that. So I said, well, let me go find me a spot for my 30-minute lunch break, go sit and face the water and look at it. So I go and mind my business. On my way, I go wash my hands, grab my lunch, wash my hands, and then head on to find me a bench where I can actually check out the water. So on my way, I ran into a couple, and the lady says, "Oh,
Yes.
oh, can you please can you take a picture for us?" And I look because they were standing next to this like statue type thing. Oh, could you please? So I said no, and I went on, sat down, pulled my lunch out, and pulled my phone out, checking my messages and everything. So the lady, she walks over. The husband, he stands there. He didn't move. And the lady, the woman, she comes over. Ah, you're so rude. And I look up at her and I said, thank you. So that wasn't good enough. Ah, you're rude. I said, oh, okay, thank you. And went back, looking at my phone, minding my business. I'm going to report you. And I didn't look up this time. What is your name? I said, Miss. No, what is your name? My name is Miss. I'm going to report you. And so I didn't say anything. I went on to keep looking through my phone and took another bite out of my sandwich. So she goes over to her husband and she says something to him. I don't know. And I guess he's looking because he's used to her, of course, because they were in their maybe 60s. And he looking or whatever around. And then she comes back over. Yeah, I'm going to report you. You're rude. So now I'm tired of her at this point now. I said, well, why would you ask me a question and I didn't have a choice? And she just looks at me and then she marches off. And then she goes over to her husband. And then I don't know who asked who, but the next thing I know, somebody was taking a picture for them. Now, me personally, I don't like touching other people's stuff. I just don't, especially now I'm eating. This is my lunch break. I'm eating my food. I'm going to take your camera, your phone, your phone, touch that, take a picture for you. And then now I got to go across this place to go to the washroom to wash my hands. And there's no extra time you're going to get. Oh, supervisor, I'm 10 minutes late because I had taken this picture for some visitors in Chicago. And then, I had to go back and wash my. No one wants to hear that story. So I just flat out and told her no.
Nope.
And the fact that she had a problem with the answer, that tells me you're not used to no. You wanted me to say yes. You used to me or people saying yes. I didn't have nothing to do with that. I'm like, okay, but I understand a lot of palm colored people are like that. But it didn't matter to me. I don't know who she's going to report. I'm on my lunch minding my business.
Right.
But, you know, that
You know
what her
what, Shar?
thing was.
You know what, Shar? You're nice. This is how I would have did it, right? What I would have did is I would have ate my sandwich, took a picture, and make sure I got that nice greasy part. You know what I'm saying, with the mayo and stuff. Put it right there by the earpiece, right? Not on the screen, but right there by the earpiece. And basically, when I took the picture, oh, you got a phone call, and let her put it up to her ear and let it get all in her ear, like right there. You know what I'm saying? Let her get it right there. You know what I mean? And then walk the hell off. I'm telling you. And be the report that. Report that. report that. You know what I'm
But there
saying?
was no one to report to. I'm on my lunch. I don't work for shoot, I don't know what she thought who I worked for. My job had nothing to do with visitors in the city of Chicago walking around taking pictures with statues. That was not my job, had nothing to do with that. So I don't know again who she's going to report and for what, because I didn't stop my lunch. I know you guys have privilege, but I don't think it stretches that far.
Hmm.
So I don't know what that was about.
Entitlement.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, who are very entitled, and second of all, when they see Black people, they see service men and women, right? Like, we're there to be in service to you. So, you work here, generally, then you are here to do my bidding in whatever way I've decided, because I've said so. So even if you tell me this is not your job, or no, you actually work behind a desk on the fifth floor and whatever, I don't even know what the hell you're talking. No, they feel entitled to you, doing whatever they demand. And I've seen that a lot, especially here where, everywhere that I've ever worked, I'm one of the minority of Black people, and the majority of our customers are white, because that's just the distribution of Black to white here in Canada. Um, and I've noticed that the way that whenever there's a Black customer or a Black employee and the customer is white, they suddenly, with the way that they speak to the Black employee, it's like they think that I'm here. Like, I don't know, like, I guess they think every company has wait staff. And, of course, the wait staff are the Black ones, right? So they're here to wait on you. Hold my jacket for me. I've gotten some ridiculous requests working in an office styled space from someone who sees I have like a lanyard or something. So I clearly work at this company and I'm in the
Right, I
lobby.
had my lanyard on.
Yeah, right. And I'm in the lobby and saying, "Excuse me, miss, do you work here?" And I made the mistake of saying yes, right? Like, I'm nowhere near my office and we don't work directly with customers. So no, not really. But okay, I guess technically I do work in this building, right? Like, 'cause I have a lanyard. I don't even know what the hell this building had like 20 different offices in it, right? So I don't even know which one she came for.
Right.
But like, I work here. I'm expecting she's gonna ask me where the bathroom is or something, right? So I said yeah, and she goes, "Oh, here, I need you to hold my jacket." And I'm like, right, and I put my hands up and I'm like, "No, I'm on my break. I've only got like 10 minutes right now to run and do what I'm gonna do and go back." "Well, I thought you said you work here." I'm sorry. Do you think this is a hospitality place? This is like, I don't know. What do you think? You think that they have like wait staff in the lobby of buildings? There's security right there. Here's your wait staff wandering through the lobby, just wanting to make sure whether or not the white privileged woman needs anything from me today. Like, no, I don't. Well, Ruby, I'm gonna report this to who? Like, oh, I see security right there. You go tell them that me refused to hold your jacket for you and you want me fired. Go. No, go do. In fact, I'll hold your jacket for you while you do it. Go do that. I want to watch you do that. I want to see what happens for you. She wasn't happy, but she did. She ended up huffing and grabbing her jacket to hand it to me. And I put my arms out. So when she went to hand it into my arms, I moved them just in time for her jacket to fall on the dirty, wintry ground. Yeah.
I know that's right. Hey, Ruby. Hey, Ruby, did she write a strongly worded letter afterwards?
She might have, but I don't know to what company. Like I said, there's like 20 companies in that building. I'm positive she didn't book that much. So She might have written it to any one of the other companies, maybe to my company. But even if, can you imagine what kind of crackpot the insurance company would think? I work in an insurance company in the office in the sales and service administration team. We do not work with customers even over the phone, let alone in person, because this office doesn't even work with customers in person. There's nowhere to talk to customers at all. Imagine what kind of crackpot lady. I was at your offices at this address, and one of your girls, because I'm sure that's what she said, or gals, refused to hold my jacket for me. I want her fired. Her name is Ruby Red. Can you imagine? They would think she's insane, right? Like that's like
that is ridiculous,
right?
That is totally ridiculous. Oh, let me hold your jacket for you. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I did it. Yeah, it looked expensive too, and it was like a lightish blue color. And the ground was really like kind of muddy and sloppy that day because it had been snowing. So yeah, and the custodians hadn't gotten around to mopping this area again. So yeah, no, it fell right into all of that wetness. Like it just ruined. The mud, the salt, everything. I was happy. That was good. I watched. And the thing is, I waited for her to process what happened, and I watched her process it. And then I went into the store. She trailed me into the store when I went to go buy what I was buying, trailed me all the way to the elevator. And then I was like, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, you need a lanyard to get this far. And went into the elevator and waved at her.
Your privilege only goes this far.
Yeah, pretty much.
but you know, with the jagged drop, I would have done the same thing. I mean, I probably would have stepped on a little bit, act like I ain't see it. That was your jacket, wasn't it? Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Oh no, because then she could say I did something. I did nothing.
Oh yeah.
Literally, the absence. I wanted to prove the whole point was me doing nothing. Right? If I stepped on it, I don't know. She probably tried to charge me with some type of police assault against her jacket or something, or murder. I don't know. So
you're right. You're right.
Hey, you know what I would do? Was you in a department store, Ruby?
I wasn't in a department store. I was in an office building in the lobby. So like, there's not even the only thing in the lobby. There's like there's a convenience store you could go into. Mm-hmm. There's something else on like some other office on the first floor, but you have to like go through the doors, and the security desk that you check into if you don't work in the office. Otherwise, you have to go into the elevator and go up to your floor to even get to a company.
Oh, so she just told you like you was like she was walking into a 5-star like club and you was
right.
Like, you know what I would have did? I would have took her jacket, right, her coat, right. I wouldn't even did all that. I'd have walked up to the security guy. Hey, this strange woman gave me her coat, but I think something like in it. I think she's a terrorist. I'm just going to give this to you. I think you need to do something because she left this over there and she told me to hold it, but I don't really want to touch it. But she's acting really weird, right? And I just walked out.
Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have taken her jacket from her. I should have taken the jacket from her and said, "Okay, do you want me to check this for you with one of the coat check gals?" Right? Of course, she would have said yes, and I would have been like, "Okay, cool." And I should have like pressed the elevator, opened it, used the lanyard, right? Sent the coat to the 13th floor or whatever, put the coat into the corner, closed the elevator doors, right? And then waited until it started going up and then got into my own elevator. Yeah, one of the coat check gals has it and just there. I didn't steal it. I gave it to one of the gals in coat check. Oh, there wasn't a coat check. I decided to put it in the elevator instead. I figured it would send it to the right place, right? It's an elevator. Yeah. Just demand that whatever person or thing does whatever you want it to do. I told the elevator to send it to coat check. I assume there must be one. You seem so sure. I don't know.
Man, this is so much stuff you could have did. Like, if I had some gum, I'd have chewed it and put it in all the pockets.
Mm-hmm. so many things.
I'd have chewed and put it in the pockets. You know what's worse? You know when you wash your clothes, right, and then you dry them and you forget to take the paper out, and it's all this linty
Oh
paper
yeah.
inside the pocket
Yeah.
everywhere. What I would have did, I would have went in the bathroom and wet up some paper towels and just stuffed it in the pockets.
See, you know, the only reason why I didn't want to be too detailed. Right. I knew I didn't have long to be ignorant because my mom works in the same building.
Oh,
So, and it was always like we were always bumping into each other. Like I was convinced at one point that she could see the security cameras, and every time I ended up in the lobby, she would just leave her desk and come and stand in the lobby and wait for me. Right. And I'd be like, oh, funny bumping into you here. Right. Because I'm not going to call her. So I didn't want to take too long because my mom, like, she wouldn't catch a play, right? She wouldn't catch the play or catch what's going on. And then she would sit there and go with all this truth telling. That's not going to work. No, my daughter is not a coat check woman. My daughter works for the sales and service admin team on the 5th floor. Okay. She actually works under Debbie, who is very high up there in the company. Okay.
God.
Like, yeah,
Listen.
no, my mom would have done that and not caught the flex. Like, no, mommy, you can't, no. Oh, okay. Well, now you screwed me. Thanks. Now I might really get fired.
Oh man.
Yeah. Just in and out real quick.
Mom is over there snitching.
Right? Dry snitching. And the thing is, though, is that it's funny because so I was really good friends. I probably still would be. I was really good friends with her big boss and her big boss's boss and all those people because they all, before I worked at that company for the summer, mind you, I worked at a store called Ricky's, which sold women's business attire, but like at a fair cost. But it's, you know, nice stuff. So they were always coming in. And at Ricky's, we kind of believed in being like personal shoppers for people, right? So you come in, you want to buy stuff, like I'm going to be able to make suggestions based on your body type and, you know, what you're looking for and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, a lot of those, you know, the big wigs would always come in. And so I ended up making friends with so many of them. And then, you know, kind of find out, oh my God, this is where you work? Like, that's so cool. But I didn't realize they were somebody until my mom saw me talking to a couple of them. And she's like, why were they talking to you? Are you in trouble or whatever? And I'm like, no, that's just Deb and this person. And she's like, those are the big, like they damn near run the company. They are first in line underneath the person who owns the company. And I'm like, oh, well, they cool. We're going for a smoke break later, right? Like, I don't know. So, you know, I used to tell them, you know, of some of these stories, right? Of, you know, the ridiculous things that would happen. And they would actually institute policies. They would institute policies within the companies based on some of the stories I had heard within their company or things I had gone through. So it was always fun to tell them because they would get a big laugh out of it. So I wouldn't actually have gotten into any. I could have been real scandalous and I wouldn't have gotten into any trouble. It was just my mother, you know, like Pastor Marge. Like, and then she'd look at you and be like, oh, well, you were trying to cheat this woman of her jacket? No, Mom, I wasn't trying to actually steal the jacket. I'm trying to teach her a lesson, Mom. You know, like, you don't want to go through all of that. Like,
yeah, you got to move fast.
And then,
yeah, it'd be all embarrassing.
Where'd you learn it from? I learned it from you, Mom. I learned it from you.
My mother was all about, she would just confront people. So like in that situation, she would be like, excuse me, just because I am a Black woman does not mean that I am in service. You don't understand. One of my very first jobs, and I happened to be a mother, a young mother at the time at only 21 years old, was manager of Neo Style Canada. And that is one of the biggest glasses companies in the entire world. Okay. My salary was probably worth more than what you make in a 5-year period. Okay. So you have no right to treat me like she's one of those people, right? Like basically my mom would be coming to them on their level, like the entitled white woman attitude. Like she would battle with that. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to come with the ignorant stuff, right? Like, like I want to be ignorant. Oh, okay. You just gonna hand your stuff to Black people because you think they have to serve you and they're too scared to do anything to you? Okay, cool. No problem.
So sometimes you got to take the low road.
Yep. Take one for the team. But no, you know what? Going back to this concept of no, and I wanted to say this earlier. See, I think, and you know, I agree with you, Char and DeAndre, that, you know, the young ones, it's a lot harder for them. You get that concept of, the fear in there, like Chandra was saying, and that makes it very likely that, especially as a Black person, a minority of any type, that, that they prey on that. But other than that, you also have personality types, right? And so some personality types are just more likely than others to not want to say no. And it's not because of any of the other reasons. It's literally because, no is not in their vocabulary. And I'm going to say that probably applies more to women in the workforce than men, where, you want to be accommodating, you want to take care of everything. You don't want to be a letdown. You almost want to get patted on your head like good doggy for, doing a good day's work. And so, you don't want to complain. You don't want to make waves. You don't want to whatever. It's kind of the reason why women have been found to, have lower salaries, because they're terrible negotiators, because they're just so appreciative someone handed them a job that they worked for all their lives. So, I think there's that as well. And, going back to the woman from the letter, she's got to learn to stand up for herself and recognize her own value. It's not just about her saying, well, no to this, but maybe even using it to leverage herself into a promotion, into a raise, into better perks and benefits, right? If you were basically okay with doing this, to some extent, and whatever, you give yourself ultimate veto power. If you really have something important that can't be missed, you're not doing it, but also leverage it into something good for yourself, because that's what, other people do. And that's how they get ahead. They get title after title after title. Why? Because they're leveraging what they actually do and putting value on it and saying, no, this isn't just free. This comes with a cost. And even if that cost isn't always, overtime, maybe it's just a higher salary and a better sounding job title. So when I get the hell out of this job, I have, that better sounding job title to leverage.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. Um, I had mentioned earlier about the age group, and as far as saying with no. And when you first start these jobs, you really don't know office politics.
Mm-hmm.
And as you continue in the work world, the workforce, you will find it becomes all the same, all around the world, same song. I don't care where you go, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to have these dumb meetings where they're going to not bring up any name. They're just going to mention someone. I mean, they're going to hint at someone. Okay, well, we're having a meeting, and please, everyone, just be mindful, come in on time, and all that stuff. When you know the person that's coming in late, that's messing the flow of work up, and all that kind of stuff. Why we keep having these dumb meetings when you can pull the persons to the side and say, "Look here, George.
Mm-hmm.
Look here, Lisa. You guys keep coming in late. It's a problem with production. You need to do better. I'm going to have to write you up."
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Instead of all this, just
Mhm,
well,
mhm.
well, everyone, let's be, we're a team. I'm just so tired of that darn team that I think
Oh,
I might throw my shoe at the next person that says that.
oh, oh, sure, sure, sure. Another one day I was like say, oh, we're family. Like,
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
they're going with the family now. Oh, wow.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they doing family.
Like,
Like, yeah,
Oh,
we're
I never
family.
heard that in a meeting yet.
Ain't working nothing
Wow.
like the family, but we're family.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, you know what I say to that? They're like, we're family. We're like brothers and sisters. I'm an only child. My mama dead. What you talking about? What you talking about? Yeah, we family. We family. Y'all owe me some money, man. Somebody need to pay. Who my daddy in here? I need some child support being paid, back payments, something. What y'all doing over here? Y'all tripping? Like, look,
Right.
listen. When office politics, I learned about office politics is that the people that get away with the most dirt blatantly
Mm-hmm.
is the ones that got dirt on folk. It's like Game of Thrones in there. It's
Mm.
like for real. What I did, like, so things don't happen. This is what I recommend to people. Read get the 48 laws of power and
Yes.
read it and
Yep.
apply it. If you have any problems at work and you're not getting ahead, there is no morality when it comes to your money.
Fact.
There is no, I'm sorry, because they're not operating on the same point. You have to be this even keel. You have to be in a situation. If I see a person that's getting away with murder, I'm talking about coming in late, taking long lunch breaks, they don't coming at all, and all this other stuff. And then they're getting promotions too. Like, this woman dumb as a doorknob, dumb as 5 doorknobs, but she
Not
look
five.
good. 5 of them, because somebody turned them doorknobs. Because if she's like, if she doesn't have anything going for her and she's in a supervisory position, I see I see it a lot. Especially I'm in Asia and I was working in a Japanese company. I saw it. I saw women that would do their job and they would give them more work. And I would see women that look good, that look pretty, but dumb as doorknobs, don't have no common sense. But they would get promotions and stuff. But they was always at the what they call it, the satcho, the manager's desk, right? And they would have to go out with the manager, and then they would have to do something, and they know what they was doing, laying on them back muscles. You know what I'm saying? Getting that horizontal working out. You know what I'm saying? Working it out. Working on them jaw muscles, right? And that's how they able to keep their position. And then, and if it's a man that's doing it, he got some dirt on somebody in the office. He got some dirt. He got some straight up dirt. He got some dirt. He probably caught somebody that's married out with a coworker or something. He probably caught somebody doing something, or the person was probably stealing or hoarding company funds, and he found out about it. And he's using that as a tool to do whatever he needs to do.
Wow.
Wow. At Meth, thank you, Regina. Nice to see you. How are you?
Hey, Regina.
Hey, Miss Virginia. Long
Hey.
time no see, Miss Virginia.
I know, right? Hey, y'all. Hey,
Hey.
family. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey. Oh my
Would you like to
goodness.
weigh in?
Okay, so as far as I've been listening, and the problem with saying no, if I and especially in the work realm, I did not get a chance to hear the letter, so or what the write-in was about it, but it seems like everybody's going off of the tone of workplace activities and where I need to be, if I should say no to this situation, or if I'm a go along and get along person. You bring it on. We go if this is going to achieve a goal, and especially when it comes to
Well, it's probably what happened. You dropped off or something, because that was the wrong answer. No, I'm just teasing.
What happened? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
they said
Right.
the YouTube guys, don't let her say that. No, getting along and all that. I'm not sure if you can hear me. You may need to drop off and come back on. But if you can hear me, the letter was a young lady writing in about she couldn't find herself to say no. She kept saying yes, she would work extra time, all of that. And when she said she could not, and she really could not, it did not matter because the boss kept calling her and harassing her at this point, just saying, "Hey, I need you, I need you, I need you. Stay late, come in, stay late, come in." So we were just speaking of saying no, because a lot of people have an issue saying no.
oh, yeah. Okay, so it
There
when
she is.
I feel that here I am, yeah. So
Okay.
I heard part of that. I had to turn off something, the YouTube channel, to chime in. But for me, I I would have done the same thing. There's a time and a place to say no, but I've not been put in that position. Actually, I you're not gonna take advantage of me. I know when to say no. I know when to put the foot down and say no, that ain't gonna work for me. Especially when I had young children. But now I'm okay with where I am. I guess the best part to say I haven't been request that hasn't been a request from me. Maybe that's because I haven't
Well,
been
that's
put in
good.
that situation. I've not been in that scenario. I don't even think ever
Oh,
that I can
wow. That's
Mhm.
recall.
great then.
I've
Mhm.
loved every position. Pretty much. I've only had one and it didn't last long. It was months. That I did not care for. But I've been blessed to
That's really
have
great.
an
Mhm.
opportunity to have bosses, and that's what I'm thankful for too. To have bosses that were flexible enough that as soon as I get a call from the daycare, Jordan has a fever. Okay, and I had one boss. Why are you still here? What are you still doing here? Would this work will be here? We'll get it done. And even if that means I got to come back later and maybe stay later another day, you know um but
I put
never
that on Texas, not wouldn't be in Chicago. That's only Texas.
that. Okay, so that would be tech. Look,
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I like,
I
Southern people do have that. Like I do notice that. Like when you start getting in the northern regions and those main cities, you just look like a number. But I notice in the southern areas, from what I've noticed from people that once they get their jobs, it's more of a family orientated thing. They more understanding, but it's up to, like Miss Regina said, she went back and say, well, okay, I went and handled that. I'm not just going to take off the rest of the day and clock out early, like on TGF Fridays where everybody run out the office early, right?
right,
But
right,
yeah, like you actually came back and did your part so you don't put pressure on someone else, and you also would come in another day or you would stay later the other day to make up for that, so it's not a burden on the rest of your coworkers. So if it happens, it's like, we know it's a family emergency, people got kids, and move on, and you're not taking advantage of the situation. And that's very highly. But here's another thing people don't understand: aura is another thing. The vibe that you give off is another thing. If you give off a vibe that I ain't about no mess, you ain't gonna try me. They ain't gonna ask you.
Mhm.
Mm.
See, a lot of times when you say no, right? No is no. When you say no, that's all it means. Once
Mhm.
once they try to give you explanations and try to talk to you, I don't negotiate with terrorists. No. And then they
Oh,
say, well, for the company, I don't say anything. I just look at them and stare at them. I try to stare a hole through their head to the wall. I just give them this death stare. If you give them that 1,000-yard stare, it's that awkward silence. Are you understanding what I'm saying? I understand what you're saying, but what did I
yeah.
just tell you?
Mhm.
No.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've done that stare
Yeah.
plenty of
It's
times.
very uncomfortable. They won't ask you again. Like you'll even hear him talking about it. Hey, can you ask such and such? Because no, man. Last time
No,
I asked him, he looked like he was gonna kill me, man. No, leave that man
no.
alone. Leave him alone. No, he don't play. He don't play. Well, you ask him, Bill. No, Tom. You know what? Get Tyrone to ask him. Get Tyrone to ask him. Hey, Tyrone, come over here.
You better call Tyrone.
Hey, man, he's really
Call.
he's really good at it. He's really good.
Another question, a question I would have though, Regina, is have
Yeah.
you worked a lot of jobs that were salary based instead of hourly?
Yes, majority. Yes, my tenure with the Centers for Disease Control, my tenure with UT Southwestern Medical Center, and even with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Yes, all salary, nothing hourly based in
Yep.
my career. But you know what is it when you do what you love? It wasn't even about the hours really.
Mhm.
Um, when I first got in this field in 1993, I felt like I was trying to save my people. It didn't matter if I needed to be out there at 7 o'clock at night looking for Pookie at Madison and Pulaski, that she may have infected somebody with syphilis. That didn't matter to me because I needed to get her in to get treated. It didn't matter to me. It didn't matter. It didn't matter about the hours at that time. Regardless of it was a federal position, and yes, the salary was nice, but it didn't matter about me putting in an hourly wage. Okay, well, I make such and such amount of dollars an hour. It was about saving my people. I've always known that I wanted to help people, and so this was my opportunity. I couldn't be a nurse because I did not like the health occupations program that my high school had at that time. So I knew then, I was like, okay, nursing is not it, but what other way? And God showed me that way to help people, help my people. And that's what I use. I was on a mission too. My first day out trying to find somebody who had a positive test for chlamydia or gonorrhea, whatever it was at that time. My first knock at the door, I knew that's what my purpose was. I needed to educate. I needed to be out there. I needed to be on the forefront because nobody else cared. And I needed to be the one that cared. That's what I knew when my first knock at the door.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And that absolutely makes sense too. I mean, it's one thing when you're just there for a paycheck, then you're very acutely aware of how many hours you're there or not. So, but also the thing is with salary jobs is when you're paid a salary, right? They give you, let's say, quotas. They give you, this is work that needs to be completed for the week, for the day, for the month, whatever it is, right? But they don't necessarily care when it gets done as long as it gets done. So, I remember my mom working a salary job for, most of her life up until, she got laid off from Federal Express. And at that point, she had a really hard time adjusting to being hourly because she didn't understand why it mattered that she was 20 minutes late. Who cares, right? And she didn't understand why it mattered. She's just gonna not come in for a couple half days during the week because she was willing to make it up on a Saturday or on a Sunday, right? Like, so for her, she didn't understand why it mattered. But that's where you get people who brightly see the difference and have had those experiences where they're being asked for something unreasonable because they're not on salary. So, they're not the hourly matters. They're being paid less, obviously, than people who are on salary. But then, certain rights come with that, including when you work a certain amount of hours and all hours should be billed, then you can start getting paid overtime, and you work on certain days, you get paid time and a half or double time. And, those things matter when you're hourly. And so, coming in and telling the salary people, oh, we're one family, we're all one team. Okay, guys, we got to get this done. That makes sense because y'all are all salary. This is affecting your bonuses, not how much you're going to get paid at the end of the month. So y'all better just get it done because that's your jobs. But for hourly people, we're not part of that team. We're not getting those bonuses. We're not getting, the special thing in the office or what. No one's paying us like that. So it's like, maybe that's why you haven't had that experience also though, right? Because you've been lucky enough to be in the salaries.
And it has to be like it's different, I mean, not saying, like and it's good that Miss Regina never went through that. But when people feel like something's their calling and they love what they do, they don't never run into that because it's actually they were going to do it anyway, whether the person asked them or not. And if they're doing this extra work and they say it's a calling for them or something they really love, like an artist will sit up there for 16 hours in a chair and be painting, right? Or you got a person that's a mechanic and they love work. They'll come in. I've seen people that will come in on their day off just to work because they just love the work that they do. They'll come in. Like I've been in the office where something went wrong in the office, somebody, the supervisor messed it up, will call in the manager. The manager will literally come from his house an hour away into the office and stay until it got fixed, knowing he got to be to work the next day. I done seen the manager come in with his kid. He out there with his daughter having father and daughter time, and he got his daughter sitting there, right? Sitting there waiting for daddy to get on the computer to fix something. And I pulled him to the side. And you know what I said to him? I said, man, don't ever do that again. Don't ever come in here on your family time with you and your daughter, that special time, and be in here working. You taking time away from your daughter.
But they got to, because it's part of their responsibilities. And that's what as a kid, I've had that experience with my mom too. But her responsibilities, if she decides for like a month of Sundays basically that she's just only going to work 4 hours a day seriously for a month, she could just do that as long as her work's getting accomplished. She doesn't have to check in with nobody or whatever. But you know, she gets those perks because if something breaks, that's her responsibility for it to be working. She's got to show up. If that means she's got to leave Thanksgiving, she got to leave my recital, we got to not go on vacation that day, whatever it is, she's got to do it because it's her responsibility. So it's like, you know, those are the pros and cons is, you know, he can make that up and get off work 3 hours early every day in the summer if he wants. Right? As long as his shit's done, he's good. So it's like you've got, you know, you got to weigh it and say, well, is it worth it to you? If you work hourly now, if you're working hourly and they try to call you off of daddy-daughter time and you show up for free or even for your hourly wage, but you show up for free, especially to go fix something, you're stupid, right? Like, no, that's ridiculous. But if you're salary, you don't have a choice.
I'm like,
I think you know, Ruby and DeAndre, I think what was mentioned earlier when I was listening in, DeAndre, you made a comment about, you know, if there's something to offset, you know, because that's what, even being salaried, that flexibility. When I said that the boss would be like, okay, why are you here? If the son had a fever or whatever, and let me go, and then I would come back. Sometimes we just knew that if she let us go early, or if we had to take care of some business, it was just almost understood because she exhibited those same the same protocol for herself. She was like, okay, y'all, my son is away in Florida at college or whatever, and I need to go down there, but I'll be back if y'all need to reach me, if we need to handle something. You know, she was still available, you know, she demonstrated the exact same what she expected from us. She demonstrated that. And that's what when I talk about leadership, I have 3 bosses that I look up to because of how they demonstrated themselves. It set the tone for the staff. Yeah, if you see your boss trying to sneak out early and trying to do stuff and they're hourly and they're trying, you're going to try to do the same thing. But if you see a boss that's committed and say, you know what, I may not be able to be here physically, but here's my cell phone number and I'm here. And what do we need to do? If we need to get this grant out, we're gonna get it done. What do I need to do? What do I need to submit? Okay, this file is in my cabinet. Go in my office, get that, and then we'll get that done. So that's what I saw in 3 great supervisors that were not only personal, but they were getting the job done. And so that, to me, that meant a whole lot to me. And that's the way I supervised. You know, when I got the opportunity, we're gonna make this happen. And so that no, I never had somebody say no, I ain't gonna. And even if they said no, they like, Miss Regina, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, my son is this or sick or whatever, you take care of that. If it's a no, it's a justifiable no. It's not a no, you asking something of me that I can't commit to or I don't want to commit to. It's not that.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what I said. Like, and it's good because, you know, when people are not in that situation, when you get a lot of people don't realize that having a good supervisor, good leadership in
Yep.
itself is something to behold. Like Shar said, when she was working with the gentleman she was working with, even though management was on whatever they was on, he realized that he had someone that was truly there, and he realized, okay, she's going to keep me up the breast. She's not going to let this stuff just creep up on me and have me blindsided while I've got my pants down. Because what they got that old saying, stuff rolls downhill. Usually it's the other way of saying it, but stuff rolls downhill. So if
Yes.
if everything is fine and dandy, then the way it works is your supervisor is a shield or buffer zone between the until the lower level employee and top brass and management. That's
That's
what
right.
you are as a supervisor. Middle management, even as top, like as a top supervisor, or you have a lot of people that you're in charge of. And a lot of times, if you're a supervisor or if you're an employee, you have to make sure that you protect your time and there's equivalent exchange. If you have your manager's back and you're doing your task, and then your manager sees that and they appreciate that, in the case of Shaw, Miss
Yep.
Regina, you don't mind staying that extra time because you know you will be compensated down the road.
In form. That's right.
But if
That's
they're not
right.
compensating you, even if it's not monetarily, even if they
Yep.
have a no overtime policy at the job, because if you work by the hour, I noticed this one thing: you got to fight in certain jobs to get overtime. You got to fight for it. They will come up to you. You can be in the middle of doing whatever. Hey man, you got to get off. You got to go. You got to go.
Yep.
If
Yes.
you that's what it really is. It's usually those jobs where it's infrastructure based. It's something that's so pertinent that's needed, and they usually come to you with that, or the company, like you said, have to hit certain quotas, and the management, the supervisor didn't do his due diligence in managing the employees,
Mhm.
because I had to fire a couple of people. Like I had to call them in the office. I had to call them in the office. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that's actually the worst thing you have to do to someone. You know how your parents say, this gonna hurt me more than it hurt
Hurt
you.
me more than it hurts you. That's right. That's right.
Because I
It does. It hurts to let go somebody. You never know what that money is going to do to their livelihood. It does. It hurts. It does.
it does hurt. It really does. It's like, especially if you're in a close-knit group, you feel as though, if you're in the management position, you feel as though I failed because I had to fire this person, because how they going to feed their kids. And when you fire a person, they got to go immediately. They don't get a 2-week notice. They don't get a 2-week notice. And usually I had to talk to one of my mentors, and I said, when you got to let somebody go, how do you do it? Like, what is your way of doing it? He said, I never had to fire nobody in like the 15 years I was a manager. I said, what you mean? I called him in the office because I knew it was going to happen, and I gave him a choice. You can either quit, or I can fire you. If you quit, then you got 2 weeks. That means you're still on payroll, and then you can go find another job. If I fire you, it's going to happen immediately. They're going to escort you out of the building. He said, is it their work performance, or did they do something illegal, steal something or whatever? He said, no, it's their work performance. They're causing. He said, then give them the 2 weeks. Give them the option. And he basically told me, it's like you ever watch those movies where they have the person that's like their royalty or something like that, and they give them the option. You can either get executed, or you can take this poison and commit suicide. Because that's what firing a person is executing them publicly to show to show them an example. They need to get their stuff together. But if a person quits, then that also shows people, but it shows that they had to remove themselves, and then you put power in their court, and there is no thing. But there was a time where I had to straight up fire somebody, like on the spot. They had to go because they was actually causing a safety issue where they almost got somebody hurt of their negligence, and they had to go like a post haste immediately. Like I like right then and there, I told him, "Hey man, go sit in the trunk." And everybody saw it too. Said, "Man, oh my God, did he just go sit in the truck?" And the guy sat in the truck, and then the first thing I did is, once we got everything settled, it was a near miss. I called down the safety advisor, told him what happened. I had to report on myself. I had to bring him in there to management, to top brass type management, and they say, "What is your recommendation?" And I said, "There's no excuse for that to happen. Somebody could have lost a limb, lost a life. My recommendation is that they remove post haste immediately and terminate it." And I did it in front of management, so he already knew what it was. And they said, "Well, you're the direct supervisor, so what you gonna do?" I said, "You're fired. I want you to know." I looked them straight in the face. "You're fired. You're fired. I don't know what you was thinking, but somebody could have got seriously injured or hurt, or you could have injured and hurt yourself, and that would have stopped all work and all production. You got to go. And if you don't understand, then you got you got time to think about it." And he had to stand in. Security had to go clean out his desk because we was on a government installation. They had to clean out his desk. They took his ID and they marched his butt like out the front gate. And when I saw the guy like a month later, he walked up to me and apologized. He said, "Man, I'm sorry." And I said, "You know what? I understand that." And I said, "I got a guy that's over here. It ain't the position that you had, but he's looking for somebody to work. I'm gonna give you a recommendation. Go over there." And the problem is, now I'm gonna be honest with you. He was a brother, and it hurt my heart to do that because it's hard for us to get positions as it is. And I had white people working under me, Asians and stuff. And I guess he felt that because I was black and he was black, he finally got to give himself a whole bunch of leeway to do a whole type of debauchery and ratchetness, right? You know what I'm saying? So I told him, I said, "Bro, if you was white and you did that, I'd have been fired you. Like I'd have fired you on the spot. But I wanted to let you know what I was doing, and I didn't do it in front of everybody because I didn't want to use you as an example in front of everybody, but you had to go." I said, "But if you was white and I saw you, you came and apologized, I'd have just accepted your apology and kept walking." I said, "The only reason why I'm doing this because we're black people, and I don't need another black person, especially in another country, being run wild unemployed. If he was white, I wouldn't have cared. I'm gonna be honest with you. If he was white, I wouldn't have gave it down."
I feel you. I feel you. I would do the same thing.
But see, that's because you actually cared about the person. I think that in today's society, a lot more of the jobs have gone to the hourly, no pension, no benefits. Actually, they want to shift everybody to part time because it's better for the corporations that way. That way, they don't have to pay for any benefits for anybody. And when you have these jobs, they want to get the most out of people that they can. They want to squeeze every little dreg out of. When I was working at Walmart, my productivity, I was putting more than $1,000 worth of things on the shelves every hour, because I was in the can good aisle. I did the math. I'm doing, wait, if I do 80 cases in an hour, these 80 cases of 12 cans, that's $960, and that's if each can was just $1. These cans are more than $1. So I'm putting up more than $1,000 worth of goods, and I'm only getting paid $19 an hour. And then they want me to work faster so I can go help somebody else. So when you sit there and think about it, this thing has changed a lot from the, used to have a lot more jobs that were salaried or full-time positions, and now they're gone to the, well, we're going to make these positions part-time, and we'll be unto you because you actually end up. I remember when I was in Georgia, you would start off part-time, and maybe a year later you might move up to full-time if the boss liked you enough. So you're sitting there competing with everyone else for the job.
Yep.
And when I was in Georgia, they were paying me $7.75 an hour. So you're $7.75 an hour part time, and if you work real hard, we might get you that full time position.
Wow.
If you works real hard, if you works.
And then I see the people who've been there for 2 years and she's still getting 30 hours a week. They say she's full time, but she's getting 30 hours a week. She can't even afford to pay her rent and her food and her insurance, right? So even though she qualifies for the insurance, she can't afford to pay it.
Wow.
It's like that's $7.75 an hour.
Let's hear they play a different game. So like Bell, for example, did this. A lot of these big companies have big call centers and stuff do this. So what happens is your goal is never trying to get to full-time status. You can't. It doesn't exist. You get hired as a lot of people don't know that, and so they don't apply for the positions, not understanding that the part-time position is the full-time position. But if they hire you as a full-time employee, they have to guarantee you a certain amount of hours, a minimum number of hours, right? If they hire you as a part-time employee, first of all, they don't have to give you benefits. They don't have to give you, here, like, I mean, medical's free, but, there's a whole bunch of other medical coverage you can get from physio to whatever. They don't have to give you that, or dental, obviously. And they also don't have to give you hours. So that means they can hire people. They can hire a massive amount of people. This was actually what they did do at Bell, because they know they're about to get an influx of calls for the next 6 months to a year. And then instead of firing people without cause, because they can't do that, right? But they just don't have the hours for these people. So they're going to have to lay that off. It's going to go in the news. That's bad press. Oh, they'll just cut everyone's hours down to 15 hours because they can, right? You're a part-time employee. So
and they don't have to pay for the unemployment on those people.
Nope. If they choose to quit. So, it's like this, there's these games that these companies are playing. Walmart, as a giant conglomeration, is doing that as well across the world, where they are hiring people as part-time employees and then working them 44 hours a week. Or 43 hours a week, that bare minimum before they have to give you time and a half or whatever, and it kicks in retroactively for the last 4 hours. Yeah, no, they just make sure that they work you 42 hours a week and then call you a part-time employee. So you get no benefits. You only have to get paid minimum wage, so on and so forth, right? And that way they can just hire a whole bunch of employees and just do the same thing.
And in that situation, if you have to keep your job to survive, how do you tell your employer no?
Right. Because as it is, even with you working the 44 hours a week, you can barely afford to feed your family if you can, and pay your rent and pay all your bills and pay for your kids' clothes because they keep growing and so on and so forth. They actually did a documentary about this last piece, and they specifically spoke to Walmart employees. So that's why I remember Walmart does it as well. And it's just it's such a sad thing because you want to be able to tell your employer no. You want to be able to put your foot down. You want to be able to have self-respect, whatever. But self-respect doesn't pay the bills. And when you live somewhere where you're in a job desert, let's say, where unemployment rates are very high, where it was a massive struggle for you to get the job you got in the first place, and everyone around you is still looking, I mean, how easy does it make it for you to turn around and say, well, no, I'm going to assert my legal rights? Because you don't have money to go to court and fight anybody if they fire you illegally. So what are you going to do?
It's interesting because while I was in Georgia, that $7.75 an hour job that I took with Publix, they had a stack of over 100 more applications waiting. 100 applications for that very same position.
Yep.
And so what they would do is they do that retail hours BS where you're working till 11:30 or 12 o'clock in the night, right? Then they'd schedule you for 6 o'clock the next morning, right? You're not going to tell them no because they'll do it, and you don't want the hours, huh? Wait, you're a no call, no show because you couldn't get up because you got home at 2 o'clock taking the bus and the train home?
Right.
No, it's you show up when we tell you to show up, and we don't care.
Nope.
And if you don't show up, or if you show up late, you're penalized.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So how do you tell that job no? And the correct answer is basically you have to essentially extricate yourself from that situation, because that job will never value you as a person. That job will never value you as an employee.
Right.
So at
Exactly.
that point, you got to find something else, and times are going to be rough. But it's either you do that or you find something else where you can say no, where your no is respected, or you stay in the same position and are miserable on basic subsistence. And maybe in 3 years, we might think about moving you to full time. But this white kid's gonna come in, and we'll move him to full time in 6 months.
Yep.
Yeah, and maybe. Yeah, maybe. Mm.
No
Oh, you forgot.
pensions.
You forgot. Oh, this white kid that comes in, we're gonna move him to full time, even though he's been on every ADD, ADHD medicine that you can find. He has a history of taking all kinds of drugs. But we're only going to do initial piss tests on him, but we're going to do a piss test on you like every 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed. Like every time there's a piss test, Jaquan's name's gonna be at the top of the list, even though it's in alphabetical order. It's supposed to start from A, right? You're on the list, buddy. Like you're on the
Mm-hmm.
list. Like we're gonna like you. Oh, why am I at the top of the list? My name is Jaquan Smith. You got an A in your middle name, so yeah, the A's of the middle name go at the top of the list. But I'm the only one on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want your job or not? like
And that's exactly what they ask you.
that's what it really is. It's you have to understand that at the end of the day, you are a number. As a person that's running that's building this company, that's running this company, that's doing whatever he's doing, that's work, that's subcontracted, directly contracted. You have to negotiate everything. And even when you negotiate, I remember this African guy told me this, right? Because I don't really like working with West Africans on any type of business. End of story. I'm sorry. They don't honor
Mm.
jack crap, even with each other. So I was working with this Nigerian guy, and we agreed on a price for me to do some work for him. And I came in to do some work, and everybody was coming in. People was coming in, and then it kind of tapered off at the end. He had a club and stuff, so I was doing an event with him, and I was bringing people in, and then it kind of tapered off a little bit, and then it went back up. So at the end of the night, we were getting everything together. We were doing whatever we need to do, and I'm waiting around for the check, right? Because in Japan, when they give you your money, they put it in an envelope. They don't just give you your money. They put it in an envelope. If it's not directly like to your bank account, they give it to you in an envelope. They give you the cash, and you got to pay transportation no matter what. So transportation is always $50. It don't matter if you live up the street or you live like 2 hours away. It's $50 round trip. So, and then you get paid whatever you agreed upon. So we agreed upon like $300 plus the transportation. That's $350. So I'm waiting for him to pay, and when he hands me the envelope, and it's rude in Japan to open the envelope and start counting your money. You don't do that.
Oh.
You don't do that. They give you the envelope of money, and you take the envelope of money with both hands, you bow, you thank him, and you walk off. He gave me the envelope, and he turned to go talk to someone, but something told me, check your money. So I opened the envelope in front of him, like, yo, where my money at, bro? Oh, well, we was a little slow tonight. And what happened was I said, hold on. 350. It's 250 in here. Well, brother, calm down. I said, okay. No problem. So you know what I did? I went behind the bar and took 4 bottles of high price liquor. What you doing? I said, I'm gonna need my money. He said, do you know I make $200 out of each one of those bottles? I said, yeah, but I do notice that you got 12 of them in the trash can.
Mm-hmm.
So out of you could have paid me my money. Not to mention all the other things, plus the entry fee. You had 500 people come in here. They had to pay $10 to get in. per person.
Mm-hmm.
I did my job. Where's my money? Where's my money? Then he starts smiling. My brother, I said, dude, you're going to be the first African that ain't going to have no teeth. So
My brother.
And I told him, I said, you ain't going to have no teeth. I said, because Hennessy bottles with liquid don't break.
And everyday people. Does it like remind you?
So the security guy comes walking up. What seems to be the problem? I said, hey man, you get your envelope? He said, yeah, check your envelope. I said, what? He opened his envelope. Dude, I'm short by $50. You is? I'm short about 100. He said, what? And everybody started checking their envelopes. Yo, what's this? I said, oh, okay, everyone, okay. I had to pay the promoter. I said,
He should have just paid you your money. Everything.
But I was like, dude, I said, dude, I am the promoter. So what are you talking about? You didn't pay me, so you didn't pay them. So what are you doing? And you know what he said? Okay, all right, okay. Then he leaves. He comes back with the cash box, and he pulls out this wad of money so big, and then he starts like counting out on the thing on the bar, right? And I said, no. What are you doing? He said, what? I said, no, this is what you're going to do. I gathered up everybody's envelopes and I put them on the table. I said, you're going to put everybody's money in their respective envelopes and we're going to do this again. And we're going to go outside and we're going to have a conversation and we're going to come back in here and you're going to give everybody their money. You're going to give me my money last. So he did it. And he said, brother, listen. In Africa, the deal is only done.
Black man pissed off by an African. I'm sorry. That's not just saying in my head.
Like the deal is only done until you make the deal happen. So does the gazelle, right? Does the lion kill the gazelle or does the gazelle give up so the lion can eat it? I said, bruh, if you try me one more time, you won't have to worry about a lion or a gazelle.
A gazelle, a zebra. You ain't got to.
But you know what? It makes sense because he's Nigerian. Nigerians are known for scamming people, so it makes sense.
But here's the funny part about it. He's not lying. He's actually telling you the truth because when you go to these companies and these corporations, they never going to pay you for what you're worth, and they're trying to squeeze everything out of you. So they're just doing it they're just doing it in a different roundabout way.
Yeah.
They're just doing it in a different roundabout way. I just had to deal with it like this, right? I just had to deal with it like this. And if you don't make it apparent that this is what I'm not going to do or not going to take, then they're going to have to compensate you because they do this all the time. Corporations do it to other corporations. I literally have to sit up there while I was working as a crane inspector. I would literally have to argue with manufacturers. Like, we paid you like $1 million for this piece of equipment. When we get it, it doesn't even hold it. Why does it fail inspection when it's brand new? Why do I gotta pay to ship this thing back to you? You're going to pay for the shipping, or you know what? You don't got to pay for it. Don't worry. You know what? I am an agent of the United States government, so I'm just going to report this to the office. Oh, okay, no problem. We send it back and whatever. This is a corporation against the government of the United States itself. So what do you think they're going to do to your little self?
Yes.
When I learned how
they can get away. Yes.
Exactly. When I learned about, even Miss Regina, probably in her field, when she had to deal with certain nuances of stuff to get people help, she probably had to fight for those people because they couldn't get the certain help that they needed because maybe they was trying to finagle the HMO and the Medicare and the Medicaid and all this other stuff, right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
yes.
Even if the rules mean nothing unless there's a powerful force to oppose and enforce those rules. And no is you can't just say no. You have to stand by and enforce it. And in some cases, You got to call a bluff. And even if they ain't bluffing you, you just going to have to live with the consequences. But sometimes you can't just let stuff slide because they know how to trick. And after me and him had that conversation, we worked together. But you know what I did with him? Hey man,
Oh boy.
we gonna work. He said, okay, cool, no problem. He said, same price. Yeah, same price. Okay,
Pay up
so
front.
you want to pay? Yes, I need a deposit. I need a deposit, fam. What? Yes, I need a deposit. I need 25%
Yeah.
down. When I show up at the door that night, I'm gonna need the other 25%. And then at the end of the night, you gonna pay the 50% of the remaining balance. Because you know I'm gonna show up. You know I'm gonna do my work. We already proven that. I don't know if you're gonna pay. So if you don't pay,
Mhm.
I only gotta take the rest of the 50% out of you instead of trying to get the rest of my money. So if
Mhm.
you already pay it up front, you working in the negative there, buddy. I ain't got no problem. That's not my issue. That's not my problem. I said, when I would do events, when I would do any business, I'm the last one to get paid. My wife would work with me. She would get paid before I would get paid. And we live in the same house.
Mhm.
Because she's an employee, she's a partner, she's a business partner. And even if she's not at that time, if she wasn't putting in monetarily, she was putting in sweat equity and doing the things that I needed her to do because I couldn't speak the language. So she's bargaining stuff for me. So I will put up the money, come up with certain things, and I will put her at the door. I will put her literally at the door, and the club owners would ask me, why is she in the cash booth? Because I don't trust you. I
Mhm.
don't
Yeah,
trust
that's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
I need to count
Mhm.
that money. I said, we got a percentage thing going on. I need her to count that money because how can I prove if you robbing me or not? On your
Right.
word?
Right.
You- I said, look, I said, you pay this building, right? If you don't pay them, you sign a contract. The second, if you don't pay more than 3 times, they're gonna kick you out of here, right? He said, yeah. I said, guess what? My wife is in there to make sure my bills get paid. So guess what? She's in there. So when I would do anything, if I had security, if I had a DJ, if I had everything, all that money was already there. It's not the DJ fault nobody showed up. It's not the security guy fault if he ain't had nobody to secure. It's not the bartender fault if I had to pay them if they didn't have to pour no drinks for nobody because it's my fault if I didn't bring somebody. The only
Mhm.
people that worked off a percentage was other promoters because if they didn't bring anybody, they weren't getting paid. That's
Mhm.
basically how it worked. The DJ's job, like everybody, if you're going to do business, the people that show up, they got paid. They do what they supposed to do. Now, it was one DJ, he wasn't doing what he's supposed to do, so I pulled him off the turntables and I gave him half his money. You didn't work the whole night, buddy. You got to go. Here's half your money. Have a nice day. Get off my turntables. And then the guy that was up and coming, I put him up on his spot. I gave him the rest of the half of the money. I gave him a
Mhm.
bonus. Hey man, you gonna have to work his set and your set. Oh man, I don't think I'm ready. Well, hey, trial by fire. And then at the end of the night, I thanked him, and he said, "Man, it's extra." I said, "No, that's his salary because you had to do his work for him."
Right.
Like being fair, doing a lot of things in business, you got to be cutthroat, and saying no isn't always that. You actually have to be proactive in how you approach work. And sometimes if you're too giving, if you're too caring, they people going to take advantage of you any way they can. Because
Mhm.
if I can get you to do my work and I get paid more than you, I'm going to get you to do my work. I'm sorry, that's the way the world works.
Well, like, it kind of reminds me of two small things. The first is I remember when I was like 12, 13, whatever, we used to go to church from my pastor's house. Yes, I used to sleep over at my pastor's house. She was a female, none of this funny business going on. It's just a bunch of us girls who were all the same age would, bunk over there and then go to Sunday school. I had to clarify. And then go to Sunday school together. And so I remember Auntie Dawn, she was a missionary, her and her two kids. She had a baby at the time. Baby's like old enough to walk, but she didn't really talk much. So she's about 2. And then like Shannon, who was about 8, we'll say at the time. And her husband was a pastor at another church. different. I think he's Presbyterian or some shit. And we were apostolic. So anyway, so she's driving the church bus now, right, to pick up all the kids to go to Sunday school. And we would get to McDonald's, right? And she would have enough money to feed her kids. If we had money, we could buy stuff for us, right? And then she would ask them. And I remember we'd find this so humiliating. My mom used to do stuff like this too. She'd ask them to like throw in a hash brown and like an egg McMuffin in there for her as well. And it's like, oh, so hold on, no. If you could throw one in for free. I don't have any money. I just paid to feed my kids. I didn't have a chance to eat. And if you don't do this, I'm not going to be able to eat until church is done around 5 or 6, right? And we used to be so humiliated. Like, how are you okay with begging people, right? And she said, closed mouths don't get fed. And you can ask for things and you can sit there and be ashamed about all you want. But if you're starving and you're telling the truth, then, one or two things is going to happen. They're going to say no, and it is what it is. But, they could say yes, and then you get to eat this morning. And I remember as kids, so we found it so humiliating. I'd rather just starve, right? I remember we used to say that. And my mom used to do stuff like that too, right? Can you just throw a few Timbits in there for me? Like, Mom, stop it. You're not poor, right? But she's like, donuts are already $1.50 and blah, 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 blah. And I already think that's ridiculous, honey. So I'm just going to ask them if they could throw in a couple Timbits to compensate me for the actual price that I think the donut should be. She would say things like that.
Hold on, wait a minute, Ruby. Hold on, wait a minute. Your mom was gonna air you out with the jacket, but then you try to air your mom out about the nuggets.
Yo, that's food. I'm telling you. It was an interesting. It's an interesting way that woman's mind works sometimes. Or ask them to throw in a small coffee or something, right? And I'd be so humiliated by these things. But they were right. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. And then later on, going into the business world, I remember watching an episode of Grey's Anatomy that summed up what people were saying perfectly about women not negotiating and stuff like that. So they don't get paid what, the job's worth because they don't demand it. And, it happened on Grey's Anatomy. Meredith Grey, she was just so like almost honored that she was getting the title of, the head of general surgery, which in essence was a job title she deserved anyway at that point, because she had been basically doing that job anyway. And so, then she's given the title, and she felt like it was almost like it was handed to her. And she was just honored. Yay, I get a promotion and I get the job I get the title, and ooh, yay me, a little bit of money. Okay, cool. And she would have been fine with this, sadly, until her sisters, both of whom were heads of other departments, looked and were insulted for her. Like, was this a joke? Or like, wow, I would take that as an insult. Like, I get paid twice or 3 times what you're getting paid. And so, the scuttlebutt goes around the hospital, and eventually the old head of the hospital goes to the new head. Right. And it's like, hey, Bailey, like, this isn't fair, pay Meredith what the job's worth. And what does Bailey say? She said, it's not my job to give away money that nobody's asking for. Right? It's not. It's her job. Listen, she's got a certain amount of money she can spend every day, every month, every year. So yeah, they have to hire a new head of general. If they can get an amazing, excellent surgeon for bargain basement prices, they're gonna do it. It's not her job to give away the money. And I'm sure Bailey was hoping she would come in and negotiate. Of course, she was teaching a lesson to one of her little ducklings. But, even without that being said, that we have to think about that that's the way jobs are. They will keep asking you for more and more and more. It's not your job title, and they're going to keep asking you until you put your foot down or until you demand fair compensation. Why? Because they can. Because it's not their job to hand you out perks and bonuses and fair compensation that you're not asking for. And we have to remember that, it's not their job to not ask you for things that the company needs just because it might be a little unfair to you. No, that's not their job. Their job is to ask and to try to get it, and to try to get it as cheap or as freely as possible. And it's up to you for you to recognize your own value and your own worth. And to stand up for yourself and fight for what you deserve and what you need, just as much as the company is going to do the same.
You
Yeah,
gotta fight for your rights.
Damn right, right?
that is, you
Say
know,
it loud. You black and you proud. Okay,
listen.
sorry, go
I would say,
I'll let you
listen.
go ahead with the final word.
I would say this, right? And I see Char do this all the time. Char be talking to us in the back chats, and Char pull out a coupon out of nowhere. Like Char bring that coupon out of nowhere, right? And 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 that coupon to come out of somewhere. She'll have coupons that the people at that store didn't even know existed. Like Char will have a
Yeah.
coupon.
He
Char will
does.
have a coupon. Listen, I will hear it sometimes. Really? We got that? Hold on. Let me call some. And they're not calling no one because they don't believe Char. They work there and don't even know about this. Like they're like, hold on. We is this? And then I can hear the manager sometimes. What? Really? Yeah, yep, yeah. This is a coupon. Shit, I didn't know we got this. Thank you. They say thank you because they didn't know about. Char, listen, there's a loophole for everything. You just got to go find it. You just got to know your worth. You just got to negotiate for your worth. And then even if you negotiate, it's no guarantee that they're going to give it until it's in your hand. You got to make sure negotiations and promises are just like faith. You believe in them, you hope that they happen, but I don't have hope. I wish you would not give me what I was promised. I wish you would try me. It's like I hope. Like hope is like that's no, I wish because if you don't do what you and just to bring this full circle with just what's going on right now, right? This newer generation of black folk and my generation and even the older generation that keep hope alive, we tired of that. I wish you would choke me out until I die in the gutter and crying for my mama and my kids. I wish you would come over here and do what you're doing because I'm hoping that you have some humanity in you just to give me the basic rights of just being an individual that can breathe and walk on the face of the planet. I wish you would.
Yeah.
I wish you. And if you don't do what you promised, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed how long? The Civil Rights Act was signed 70 years ago. Like no, not 70 years ago, but like in like 64. And you still ain't upkeep and how much
It was 65.
Yeah, 65. Like how much legislation do we got to do? How much negotiating? You ain't even do the
Okay.
stuff that's on the table right now.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
And we keep telling you no, we don't want to get. But guess what? You can say no all you want without some actions and some consequences. If your parents tell you no, if your parents tell you no, Billy, stop. I said no. Put those back. Forget you, Mom. Put those back. Billy, I said no. Okay, Billy, just okay. Just I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. Oh, you need to beat Billy into the ground. Chop Billy into the throat.
Right.
If Billy's worrying about sitting down, Billy ain't putting the cornflakes in the shopping cart.
Yeah.
You know,
When there's
no,
consequences, then that's when people actually do something.
exactly.
They need some consequences. But I'm going to end the stream on that note, and we will have something tomorrow. We'll be going back to our article reactions on Saturdays, and the time will be 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern. And not sure how long we'll do it. It all depends on what we got to talk about. So we'll see. And then no, there's no wine or anything tonight, but tomorrow I will be nice and ready. So
No, not the boy comment.
Know what that means? It's gonna be popping.
Oh yeah.
Be popping.
Make sure you get your popcorn, folks, because it's gonna be good.
yeah. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate it. Hope that you can join us tomorrow, and we'll have a good time. I believe, and thank you for your support financially and your likes and your shares. If your like button that thumbs up is not blue, you need to hit it so it will turn blue. I appreciate that. That is support as well. Hope to see you tomorrow. And until then, peace.
Cheers, y'all.
Good night, y'all.